Yeah, dude. That 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying album. Dude, see, that's an album I would go to Tarjay to go get. You know what I'm saying?
You would actually pay the what? $16 to $20 for the album.
I think that one was like $17. Yeah. Like, that was a good album. Yeah, but to sit here and go on Snapchat to get all excited because Lil Uzi put out another album, dude, it's bullshit, dude. It is the absolute drizzling crap that Lil Uzi still has a rap career. That's just like when he went out and was like, oh, I'm retiring, taking all my music with me. Thank you. You're doing us all a favor. Who really cares? That's why I'm saying, like, everyone's like, oh, my God, I'm so scared of the coronavirus. Like, I don't want to go outside from the I'm scared of the stupid virus because the fact that people keep putting money in pockets of Migos and Lil Uzi and Lil Baby, this baby, it's all drizzling shit. The rap game is garbage. It is total ass. And until we stop, and here's the thing, like all these young cats, oh, Nick, you just an old head. No, I know talent when I hear it. Okay? And let's not get the game twisted either. I'm not saying that every rapper between the late 90s and the early, I graduated in 01, so about 2008, 2009 were great. Because, as we just mentioned before we came on air, I bought the Mr. Cheeks album. It was the worst crap I've ever heard in my life. There's two albums that one was an album and one was an on-the-street mixtape that I've ever dished out money to buy, and it was absolutely terrible. Mr. Cheeks is the worst album I've ever bought, and when I was going to the beach one day at a red light on North Avenue, some guy approached my car and was like, hey, I'm trying to buy this, sell my mixtapes for like $5. So I was like, okay, I'll donate to the cause and give you $5. So when I was on my way home from dropping this girl off from the beach and everything, I listened to the mixtape and it was arguably maybe 45 minutes of my life I could never get back. Yeah. It was ass.
That's the worst part about it.
God dang it, dude. It was like one decent song, 6 crap songs, and the occasional I'm in the studio, baby, I can't come in, and she's begging, when you always in the studio, you never. It's the same skit. Everyone and their mama had that one skit where the girl called the guy in the studio because he's sitting there 24/7 and she wants sex.
Dr. Dre only did that 25 years ago.
You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, 15 years after the fact, every rap album has that. Come on, dude. Can we please stop making horrible rappers famous?
Can I give you an example of a terrible rapper that I will still listen to that I think is like, because from the 90s, I mean, because there was terrible rappers, and we talked about it before we went on air. The thing about music back in the day was you could be shit, but then you would have your song. Like Chingy. I know Chingy.
Right
he had a couple. Yeah. He had a couple, but Right Third came.
Holiday Inn.
And Holiday Inn came, and then you're like, 2 really catchy songs. You're like, okay, but then he just goes away, right?
Yeah.
You don't make a career after that. Now you could just make a career out of a really good song, a really strong fan base, and a strong social media following.
Right.
Honestly, the greatest thing about Lil Uzi Vert to me is the memes. Like I told you about the memes where like he's the dude, the high school kid is on the school bus and he sees Lil Uzi Vert and Lil Uzi walks up to him and slaps hands with him and he goes, "How you doing, man?" And he's like, "I don't know, it's only my second day here." And then like people would just use it on Twitter, like it would be like June 2nd and be like, "How's June going?" He's like, "I don't know, it's only my second day here." Like that's all he's good for me. He has one where I don't know if you've ever seen this, but he's a really small dude. He's like 5'6", and he has one where he's got like 3 ginormous bodyguards around him, and they walk into this shop, and it's just kind of this dude. You could tell it's like if it were the early like Roman ages, he would be the son of like the king, and he would just be surrounded by guards walking in like, "Bitch, you can't touch me." Like that's funny to me, but your music is no good to me. You know, at this point, your music is just kind of whatever.
When him, Kodak, who we'll probably never ever hear from again because he's in jail for the longest. Denzel Curry, Lil Yachty, and 21 Savage came out with that cipher. I knew that the rap game was done. I just knew it was done. I was like, because it can only go down here from there.
I wish they would stop letting them freestyle too, because like you're not a free.
The worst.
21 Savage that might have been one of the worst attempts. I used to get high with friends and they would do better than 21 Savage, and they would just be the worst. Like, yo, I going to school. Life is cool. Like, to me, that was still better than what 21 Savage did, because he would just be. But the example I was gonna give you before we move on, Too Short. There's something about Too Short where you're like, he sucks, but he's also really good at the same time. Like, he has that one song where it's like, I don't know what it is, but I just, like, you were talking about the girl calling. I don't know what it is, but I just love you. It's like, down, 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 down. Like the West Coast sort of, like E40 in the same way, like, got these really dope beats, but E40, you can understand him. He's got a flow.
He's very unique in the way that he flows too, by the way.
And he's fast, but he's also like, it's not like Twista fast where like you can't understand what he's saying. So like there's I get it. Like there's bad rappers, but I think the rappers now, like sometimes, again, every single time I challenge somebody like, this dude's garbage, he'll send me a song, and then the song will be half decent, right? Half decent. The song is okay. And then you're like, okay, that song is pretty decent. And they're like, yeah, see, he's good. And it's like, no, he has a good song, right? But like Kendrick,
the catalog is garbage.
Exactly.
Catalog is garbage. Just because you have one song doesn't mean your catalog is going to be
Kendrick Lamar has a consistent catalog of really, really good, solid songs from when he started to even when he went pop. Right. Because even like he had that one album that wasn't pop, Good Kid, Mad City. Yep. And then he had the one that was everywhere, Damn, where it's like, be humble. And he was still good consistently. Like, there's a lot of guys you can still place in that category, but there's just so, there's just
everyone
so much
raps
trash.
The same too.
Exactly.
Migo. Welcome to Back in Black. That's how I come out Mac. And people think that this something like I remember this one girl, and we'll move on here and say, I remember this one girl was like, go check out the Future mixtape. Why don't I just go punch myself in the throat so I can't talk anymore? How about that? How about I go stab myself in the ears and bleed and just go deaf? I'm not listening. If it was pre-Mumble Future, if it was same damn time Future, I rocks with it. If it was Where You At with Drake Future, I'm not rocking with it. That's Mumble. That's all he does now. He's mumbling. Yeah. But
to be fair, Future's another example of a guy who has a couple really, really good songs, but has just gotten by on sort of attaching himself to Drake, attaching himself to 21 Savage and some of these other guys who are hot. And it's not hard to be. Let's be honest, it's not hard to be a popular rapper now. Like you have that one little kind of what's his name, Lil Xan, like a little white kid who's kind of like looks like he is the stereotype. Yeah, he definitely looks like he's drugged up, but he looks like the stereotypical like kid who grew up in a rich neighborhood and had access to drugs at an early age, and now he's 16 and he's doing lean, and you're like, oh my god, he looks like the stereotypical. And his
lean was so 1999, bro.
Like it's DJ Screw was doing that in the early 2000s, and he died like 10-15 years ago. Yeah.
All right, well, seriously, welcome to Mac and Black Podcast. That's what we do. We venture out of sports a little bit. We're going to reel it on back in. That's Mac and Black. We're back in the studio. Steve's on the other side of the glass there. Remember, if you want to listen to such great shows like these, the Boss to Boss Network, PodRiver.com, right here, you can check those out. We're right now Facebook Live. You can also check us out on iTunes. Make sure that you leave us a comment and everything. All feedback is wonderful. Also, we're on Spotify. Just go on Spotify and say, hey, play the Mac and Black Podcast on Spotify. As a matter of fact, if you hold the Google button for all, because I don't rock with the iPhone. So for all you Android users, hold the middle button when you hear the doo-doo, say, hey, Google, play the Mac and Black Podcast on Spotify. We pop up. We did it on the show like months ago. It works, so you can check us out on there. We got a lot to break down here today. UFC 248, Israel Adesanya against Yoel Romero. That's later on tonight. We'll break that down. The NHL playoff race is in full effect. The NBA playoff race still full effect. I am still not sold on the Milwaukee Bucks. And both of our basketball teams right now are in total disarray. And I feel like we can both make fun of each other and not choke each other out because the Bulls ain't no better than the Knicks. And the Knicks damn for sure ain't no better than the Bulls.
We might as well be friends at this point.
I swear to God, we might as well
Knicks
be.
and Bulls fans, you might as well be friends.
Might as well unite. I know we've been down each other's throat since the early 90s, but yeah, we're going to be best friends for a little while because both teams are not doing great. For a couple years. So we'll get into that. Then we'll get into some baseball later on. First pitch coming up soon. A lot of buzz going on with the White Sox. I've been listening to between Waddle and Sylvie and some of these other Chicago radio stations for days, and it's just a lot of buzz going on. Yohan Moncada got signed up. By the way, I also want to make mention that yesterday when I was at work, this one dude named Derek Ferreira, that's the one guy the troll. I remember the troll. Yes. I want to give him a huge shout out because what happened was he did his little YouTube podcast, by the way, and I actually took 30 minutes out of my busy day while I was cleaning up at work before I could leave to listen to it. And as I just told you on Facebook now, I mentioned you by name. He didn't mention me by name, but I knew exactly who he was talking about. So here's me being a man of my word, mentioning you by name. The next time you call me out, at least call me by name.
And this might be the last time we're going to mention him by name. Let's just call him the troll from now on.
And then on top of that, stop calling yourself the Yankee Messiah when we know you're a Red Sox fan,
That's so cringy.
And it's not even that. Dude, it's a curb off a wrestling promo.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because Seth Rollins calls him the Monday Night Messiah, so this clown goes and calls himself the Yankee Messiah.
So not only are you not even cool, but you're not original.
You're not original, no. So when he was calling himself the Brash and the Brazen, I'm like, where do I hear that familiar? It's from Shayna Baszler from NXT. So you took a woman's nickname and put it on yourself. Come on, bro. So just show your Red Sox colors, like I've been calling you out for the last year about, and then we can all move on from this. So I know he's watching now, and if you hang on for a minute, as a matter of fact, because baseball's right around the corner, and it's hot, and I know you're watching, we'll talk a little bit of baseball, because I have some questions. And it's happening right here in Chicago. So it was brought to my attention the rise of the White Sox to the supposed downfall of the Cubs. And it goes just a little something like this. The White Sox locked up Luis Robert, locked up Yohan Moncada. I'm sure pretty soon they're going to lock up Eloy Jimenez.
They already did.
Okay, locked up Eloy Jimenez.
He was the first one, actually.
So the White Sox have locked up pretty much the core of their young team. While we just saw a guy get his ass knocked out.
Yeah, he just got knocked the fuck out.
Meanwhile, on the north side of Chicago,
Oh my God.
You don't even need the follow-up shot. But he gave him to him anyway.
Took 3 too many. Those refs. Now we got to talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Terrible.
Oh, look at that straight jab to the face. It's like he ran into his fist.
The giraffe should be jumping in right there. Right here. He should be jumping in right here. This dude is not going to be able to defend himself. All of this watching, I think that's Eve Levine. I don't think so, actually.
No, I don't think so.
It's not Eve Levine. No.
Isn't that the guy that used to have the long
no, I know who you're talking about, Beltran. No, that I don't know who that is, and I think I want to say they're in Vegas right now, so there's no excuse for this. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that.
So then, on the north side. By the way, what's up, Steve? I see you, bro. I'm not ignoring you. I'm in the flow right now, and I haven't looked into the comment room yet. But yeah, what's up, Steve? I see you, brother. On the north side, they can't lock anybody up. Chris Bryant said no. Anthony Rizzo is a free agent after this year. And I guess Kaplan talked to Theo Epstein, and Theo said that he tried to re-sign these guys, and these guys said no. Here's where I was getting scared about, right? What if this happened in New York?
Yeah.
Where if the Mets started gaining some traction and started signing them guys, and there was so much hoopla, while the Yankees come on this downfall because God forbid these guys stay healthy for 3 weeks.
Jeez, man, Aaron Judge.
Fractured rib apparently, or stress fracture.
Yeah.
What's his name's gone because of the calf injury.
Which man,
Giancarlo.
You have to start being worried about Giancarlo now, right? Because this calf, it started with. He's had a lot of leg issues, first of all.
Yes.
Dating back to the Marlins.
Yes.
So the Yankees have to be careful here. I always say this is a good time to get hurt, right? It's still spring training. You miss a couple months. You come back during the important months and be 100%. But with Judge, I think he'll come back, right?
Yeah.
But with Giancarlo, is he ever going to be 100% healthy? That's going to be a tough bet for him.
But see, here's the thing. Here's the problem I have with Giancarlo. And I understand where the Yankees are going to do, but this is where they have to stop playing games with Clint Frazier. Clint Frazier at this point needs to at some point be the everyday left fielder because Brett Gardner's on his last leg, and the Yankees have to bank at some point on the health of Aaron Hicks. And the only reason why I bring this up is because the Yankees have an absolute stud superstar that's sitting in A-ball right now that they signed some time ago in that kid Jason Dominguez that has been lighting up A-ball, and everybody is amazed. And they're saying that this kid is the next big thing in MLB.
They say that him and Robert are very, like, tools-wise, very similar.
Yes. And they're saying this, and I guess Dominguez is a switch hitter. They say his defense is not great, but it's definitely on the come along.
He's really young, too.
And he's only 16.
And Robert's 20, so
right.
That just tells you where he's at.
So look at it like this. By the time you're asking Dominguez if he's ready to come up into the big leagues, that contract you just signed Aaron Hicks to will be on the last leg of that.
Yeah.
Because they signed him to like a 6-year deal. By that time, Jason Dominguez is 22 and definitely on the prime hit.
Yeah.
So
he might even come up sooner than
if
that.
he
The way that the MLB is now, he might come up in the next 2-3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm saying the Yankees can't play games with Giancarlo and make him DH.
Right.
They really can't be playing games with Clint Frazier and put this man in left field.
Or try and use him as a trade piece like they were talking about last year. That didn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't know at this point, like, what do the Yankees do? Like, there was a rumor that went around that the Yankees called the Mets about Steven Matz. And then all of a sudden it became, the Mets asked for Miguel Andujar. That's not happening.
Yeah.
But what if the Mets asked for Clint Frazier? Would you, as a Yankee fan, be comfortable? Because the Mets need an outfielder. I know that from what I've been hearing on the New York radio, that a lot of Mets fans are hoping that when Mookie Betts is done with L.A., that somehow Cohen still cons his way into buying the New York Mets. All that money gets brought in, and they give Mookie Betts the contract of a lifetime.
Did Mookie get extended, by the way? I don't think so.
I don't think
he did, right?
I don't think so. He's still a free agent. Yep. Okay. He's still a free agent.
Okay.
But the Mets still need an outfielder.
Yeah.
And the Yankees at this point, because we done lost Severino for the year of Tommy John. Paxton won't be back till May, if not June, with the back surgery. So do you trade Clint Frazier where you feel like you have no room for him to Steven Matz? The Mets get an outfielder, the Yankees get a pitcher. Because once again, can we please stop with this? Well, the Yankees won't help the Mets and Mets will help the Yankees. If the Cubs can somehow, if the White Sox can somehow con the Chicago Cubs into trading one of the best outfielder young pieces for Jose Quintana, I'm sure that the Yankees and Mets can put the sword off to the side for 5 minutes and make a deal that benefits both sides.
And let's also remember that Eloy or that Quintana trade was a midseason trade, so the Cubs were even were desperate, semi-desperate for pitching at that point, and that's why they decided to move forward with that. But one thing I will say about the whole extending thing is that to take it back to the north side a little bit, do you blame Chris Bryant for not wanting to extend with the Cubs? I mean, all the games that they played with him when he was in AAA, and he was clearly the best prospect in baseball, and he was ready a year and a half before he got to the big leagues, and it was all because of this service time restriction that teams use to manipulate contracts and get an extra year of control of a player at a extremely low rate. The White Sox They decided to say, no, we're not going to do that with Eloy, with Robert, and then now with Moncada. Moncada didn't have to sign this deal. People don't understand that. Listen, Moncada was going to make like $600,000 for the next, I think, something like 2 years, and then he would elect free agency. There's a very good chance that Moncada. I think the deal turned out to be $70 million. 5 years, and then there was a team option on that, and the team option could have made it $90 million. I think they said that if he went into the open market in another 2 years, that deal would have been in the 150s. So he left a lot of money on the table to stay with the White Sox. Clearly, teams want or players want to stay with this team. You can't say the same about the Cubs right now.
You really can't.
So it's a little bit odd to see the dynamic now in Chicago because you're so used to seeing the Cubs, no matter how bad the Cubs were, it was always more, oh my God, Wrigley's back. And, even if the White Sox were, winning, and there's been a couple times where the White Sox have won free agency and the White Sox are expecting to be a decent team. And next thing you know, all you hear 2 weeks before opening pitch is the Cubs. Now it's the complete opposite.
It's the complete opposite.
You can't go. And honestly, Nick, I think a lot of it has to do with the network thing. Like ESPN, they don't have any loyalty to the Cubs anymore, right? Nope. Like even WSCR 670 The Score, they certainly don't have any because they're the ones that lost the Cubs in that whole Marquee Sports network deal. So listen, the big thing for me is that the Cubs have to have a culture change. Mm-hmm. Jose Abreu said remember what Jose Abreu said? I don't care if they don't want me. I don't care if I don't sign an extension. I'm going to be a free agent. I'm going to come back to the White Sox even if I have to. That type of mentality from players clearly shows they want to be here. And part of that is, Cuban and Hispanic players love playing against the White Sox because every single time they get a visit, the White Sox are catering Cuban food, Dominican food. Jose Abreu, this is something that he said he's grown a relationship with the players on other teams, Hispanic players, Cuban players, Dominican players, all players from South America, because the White Sox go out of their way to accommodate these guys. Whereas other clubhouses, I'll be honest with you, Nick, remember that season where Chris Sale he cut up his jersey because he hated the throwback jerseys? The
throwback ones, yeah, I remember that.
That locker room was cancerous. Adam Eaton, he won. Yeah, he ended up winning World Series with Washington last year and had a good season for them. But he's the reason why we got Lucas Giolito. He's the reason why we got Reynaldo Lopez, Dane Dunning, another good pitcher that's coming up. And then you look at Chris Sale, who was also one of the big problems in that locker room. Who you trade him and you get Yoan Moncada, you get Michael Kopech, you get Luis Basabe. These are all core players to your team right now, and you let go of two cancerous players who are ruining your locker room. Apparently, is what the rumor was. I love Chris Sale. I love Adam Eaton, but that's just, remember the whole Adam LaRoche, Drake LaRoche shit? Like, that just shows.
Oh, when they was tripping about him bringing his son into the locker room.
And his son was like, being a part of, BP. And it's like, listen, dude, these types of locker rooms, nobody wants to play there.
Right.
And the White Sox did their best to exit stage left there, bring in Rick Renteria. Okay, Rick Renteria, he's going to start this new culture, multifaceted culture. Everybody loves each other. They have fun. Even when they were losing, they were having fun. And even the Cubs, dude, remember at the end of last year when they were in the playoff push, but then they were, and the every single player in that dugout looked miserable, and nobody wants to play for that type of team.
No, they don't. And what this does is, though, I feel like this really opens the door. As a matter of fact, the person I think is going to rue everything that he done last year, and it's going to look back, it's like, damn, I should have just signed there, is Manny Machado.
Yeah.
I think Manny Machado's going to rot in San Diego. Yeah. You want to talk about a guy that went to San Diego basically just to get paid? He went to San Diego to get paid. See, here,
he said the warm weather. Okay,
and the warm weather, whatever with that.
Good luck with that.
That lets me know that you can tell the different mentality from a Jose Abreu to a Manny Machado. Mm-hmm. Because like you just said, and Jose Abreu was he warned everybody. You can trade for me, that's fine, and I'll come play. But I'm letting you know I'm not signing an extension, and I'm coming right back to the White Sox. Mm-hmm. And no one went out and made an offer for him. Manny Machado had a chance to come to the White Sox, and didn't he have some type of family ties.
So the White Sox went out of their way to trade for his cousin Yonder Alonso and his best friend John Jay.
Bam.
And then they were like, White Sox fans, me included, were like, oh, okay, where there's smoke, there's fire. This guy's clearly, you know, they're making a run for this guy. And it came down to, what, $25 to $30 million that the White Sox were putting in incentives and not front-loaded. And then he said, well, the weather's better there anyways, and I don't really care about Yonder or John Jay. I want to get paid. Have fun with that, man.
Have fun with that. Because if you thought, like, look, you went from being with a 65-win Baltimore Orioles team to basically a 75-win San Diego Padres team because, like, I mean, no offense to San Diego, though, like, I don't see any moves that they made this year unless I'm missing something that makes me think that they can contend for the wild card because they're not winning the West.
No.
Unless the Los Angeles Dodgers have some type of monumental collapse, which I don't think is going to happen, there's no way San Diego is going to end up winning the West. There's not going to be a team close in the National League West for a team to win the West. So with that being said, I'm thinking to myself, dude, could you imagine yourself if you was, now I know maybe if you're the White Sox and you're a White Sox fan, you're saying to yourself, thank God we didn't sign this man. Because now you have Moncada at third. You have Tim Anderson, who that was talked about a whole lot on radio yesterday about his rise to the top, you know, how he felt about baseball, how last year almost turned his whole life, let alone forget the career, his entire life around, his love for the game, his love for playing for the city of Chicago, what Tim Anderson means to the White Sox in that clubhouse, you know, and then you got Luis Robert at second, and then you bring in arguably the best catcher that was on the free agent market in Yasmani Grandal, as if he didn't even consider anybody else. It's almost as if the White Sox came, he had one contract, probably talked to Jose and Yohan and some of the Eloy and some of the other guys.
And then Keuchel said the reason why he signed was because no other team could offer him the type of catchers that the White Sox could. And then he spoke to Grandal, and they loved each other. I don't think they played with each other, but they knew each other.
So all the hell that I feel like Kenny Williams and Rick Hahn has been going through, it all now started, like you've been saying in Spanish, to trust the process in Spanish on your Facebook. This is basically what happened. You got to trust, because I've always said a team can only suck for so long before they figure it out.
Right.
Like the Tampa Bay Rays were bad for almost 5-6 years in a row, and now they're pretty much, I mean, they could challenge the Yankees for the AL East title the way the Yankees can't stay healthy, but this team, I can guarantee you, is going to the playoffs as a wild card, if not the AL East champs. It's not even close. That's how good that team has now become. The White Sox are in that same league. But on top of that, and I mean, I don't want to go too far into it, but I really honestly think it's putting a lot on the White Sox. But my question is, I'm still not convinced that the Minnesota Twins team we saw last year is going to be the same team that we saw this year. Some team that went out and belted out 300 home runs. I don't know how the hell they pulled that off.
I mean, Nelson Cruz was the only power they added. Other than that, it was pretty much
it was
the same
still
team.
Sano,
and he didn't even play much of the season because he had a tough time. I mean, even Buxton, to a certain extent, was, you know, we knew he was an amazing defensive player, but he started hitting home runs. And then, you know, they had Rosario, the outfielder. You know, my thing is, and I'm sure you're the same way. With baseball, you give credit to the previous year's winner, and you kind of look at them as, okay, we've got to beat that team to get to get the title. So I'm giving them that much respect, but I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, when I look at Minnesota Reddit, the Twins Reddit, these dudes are like, oh yeah, the White Sox, look at the little brothers finally getting money and this, and I'm like, dude, all right, keep playing that game, because you're going to realize now, first of all, the White Sox have historically had a tough time on the road in Minnesota, and then in like places like Oakland and West Coast places. This year is going to be different. This team has reinforcements, specifically pitching reinforcements. Minnesota's in for a rude awakening.
I think so too.
And even Cleveland, because Cleveland is in the same boat. When I talk to some of their fans are a little bit more smart, and they understand because they've been through it, right? They've been to the, to the pinnacle, and a lot of them are saying the same thing we're saying, which is, Minnesota and Cleveland, their arrow is not pointing that far up.
No.
Their arrow is, if anything, sort of a sideways, and the White Sox is pointing directly up.
Yeah.
And the worst part, here's the best part about the White Sox stuff. The average baseball fan who you would respect and say knows baseball doesn't quite understand how good the White Sox are yet. It's going to take the White Sox going on a nice run for people to really understand, holy shit, look at the players that the White Sox have, because a lot of people are sleeping on us still, even with us being, I'll admit there's a lot of hype train around the White Sox right now.
Oh, yes.
It's not even only in Chicago. In Chicago, 100%. But like MLB Network, this is the first time that ESPN is acknowledging us. This is a really monumental moment for the White Sox. They're not used to this. Obviously, this is a really young team as well. I would say that, though, this team has been... One thing about Tim Anderson, he was one of the first people to be a part of the rebuild because he was there. He actually got called up 2 years too early because the White Sox were so bad. And he got called up 2 years too early, and he played 2 years as a really solid player, just not eye-popping. Then last year he comes in and has almost historic numbers, leads the league in batting, and then in the same breath has, I think I talked to you about this, his BABIP, batting average on balls in play, was in the top 3 of all time last year. These dudes are really good on the White Sox. The problem right now, and the big thing for the White Sox is experience. We have to win. You have to win now. We don't understand what it's like to win. Not only in the respect of like, okay, how do you win ball games? I know we're going to understand how to win ball games. Rick seems to think that this team has a lot of, firepower, so they're going to be aggressive this year. They're not going to be bunting. There's going to be, we want our batters to be, big boppers. But there's also the pressure of like, dude, none of these guys have been part of winning teams. Let's be honest, Jose Abreu has never been part of a winning team. I know Grandal was a part of Milwaukee last year. He's had the run with the Dodgers. So, okay, that's great. Keuchel in the same respect. Okay, that's great. Gio Gonzalez in the same respect. Okay, that's great. But you guys have never played on this team before.
Right.
And everybody who has played on this team, including Eloy and all these other guys, have never played on what is a good team. And you know how it is, dude. It's hard to win in 162 games. It's hard to win consistently. Even the best of teams, are in the 90 win range. And that's not that great. If you look at it, that's what, a 60% winning percentage. 60% in other leagues means you probably don't win you don't even make the playoffs. So, dude, as a White Sox fan, you got to be excited, but you also have to be cautious because this team is young and they don't know how to win quite yet.
Right. Nah, I agree with you 100% on that. Like, let me ask you, I was just thinking about this while you were talking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like I understand that the Cubs are trying to pull the quote unquote Yankees move. They got this is the marquee channel, blah blah blah, this and that.
Yeah.
Man, but do I feel like this was kind of the worst time for you to do that? Because now the White Sox exclusively are now on Comcast.
Yeah,
they're now exclusively on WGN. And if I heard correctly, does Comcast users not have the marquee channel yet?
I think they said that they're going to fix that eventually, but it's it's not in a basic package anymore. So you would literally have to go out of your way. It's not even in the sports package. You would have to go out of your way to buy it. We talked about loyalty in corporations. If I'm Comcast, you were paying me last year, the Cubs were. You're not paying me this year. Why am I hyping you up?
Right.
Even if you're doing well. Why am I hyping you up?
Right.
I'm not getting that check anymore.
Right.
And the White Sox are our baby now.
As a matter of fact, did I not see correctly that YouTube TV had put out I think it was the marquee channel. YouTube TV came out and said that they couldn't, that they wouldn't show the marquee network because supposedly whatever monies whatever deal that YouTube TV and the marquee channel tried to put together, it didn't make sense. Like you were saying, you have to almost go out of your way to buy a whole nother package instead of just put on the regular package.
Sports
and
package,
right, and YouTube TV is like, we're not going to charge people extra monies to try and get the marquee channel because God forbid you stop being so damn cheap or trying to be so damn expensive about it. So YouTube TV came out and wrote a statement, unless it was fake, and I don't think it was, that they said that we're not going to carry the marquee channel. So anybody here in the Chicago area that was thinking about getting YouTube TV so they can watch it now won't get it because the Ricketts are finding a way to screw that up too.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think the Cubs, in my opinion, may have picked the worst time to want to do this because with the White Sox being so hot now, where you think all this national coverage is going to start coming from? Mm-hmm. It's going to start coming from, it's all going to be on the White Sox. You're going to have, every TV's going to be on WGN and every TV's going to be on Comcast because, I really just don't see, I think the White Sox are an inspired team right now to where they know that the Central is wide open.
And let me ask you something. This is sort of personal to a Yankees fan and specific, because what was the big argument about the Yes Channel? The Yankees have fans globally.
Right.
And we want that to be a global scale, allow our teams to have, or our fans to have the Yes Network to know that the Yankees are Yes Network. But the Cubs, okay, fine. Chicago fans travel well, right?
They do.
They travel well. But do you have Cubs fans in London who are waiting patiently to watch Cubs games?
Right.
I don't know. I think there's a lot more Yankees fans that are diehard. And I don't know if this has to do with culture, because let's be honest, the culture in New York is very sports-centric, right? It's like sports is very intertwined in culture, and that goes back a long ways. We talked about that baseball documentary, goes back to the days of the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Giants in New York. And I don't think there's that with the Cubs. And let's be honest, a lot of bandwagoners, who are they going to right now? They're going to the White Sox, right?
Yep.
So the Cubs, let's be honest, the Cubs are not going to be terrible this year. I don't think they will be. I think they've still got guys, but let's put it this way. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a really bad 2 months. Quintana, Lester, Darvish, let's be honest, Rizzo, Bryant, Contreras. These are all guys we might see traded in the season, which would be a crazy, monumental thing because it was only 2016 they won the World Series. That's it, 2016, right?
2016. Yep.
It was only 4 years ago you won the World Series, and now you're essentially going to a rebuild. I hope that, honestly, I've got enough friends and family who are Cubs fans to say I hope that doesn't happen. I hate the Cubs, and I hate most of your fans, but I do love some of your fans, and I don't want to see that, honestly, because, dude, it's grueling. Take it from a White Sox fan who I'm very happy where we're at right now, but the last 4.5 years have been rough, dude.
Yeah.
Like rough, embarrassing laughingstock type stuff that we were talking with the Bulls and Knicks.
Right. Yeah. Let's almost get into that here in a minute. God. But yeah, dude, I'm just so, first pitch is coming up soon. I guess Garrett Cole got rocked the other day against the Detroit Tigers. Could care less.
Me too. People are saying Yohan Moncada has one hit. It's spring training, bro. I don't pay attention to that shit.
Right. Spring training is for you if you're trying to figure something out, if you're trying new stuff, if you're trying, maybe something to fix in the city. Yeah. Spring training is the time to do it.
It's preseasons for the players. We talk about it every single preseasons for the players, spring training for the players.
For the fans.
That's why I want them to be on TV, but when people are like, well, why don't they? I get it. Like, nobody really wants to watch this shit. Most of the smart fans are like, I'll watch it when opening days here.
Right, exactly. Let's see. Steven wants to know, Yankees play on FS1. If they're on the national televised game on FS1, they do.
And it took them a while to get that deal, right? I remember, I think when in the first infancy stages of Yes Network, they hadn't yet talk to other networks about taking on Yankee games,
right?
And it would be a blackout, as we've seen it so much in Chicago. There would be a blackout in some games if they were on national television.
Yeah, I'm glad that crap
that's
is
gone.
over.
And I think the Cubs are going to have to deal with that for a little while too, because Marquee it's taking on. We talked about this Sinclair Broadcasting is the parent company. Mm-hmm. They're not like, they're ginormous in terms of like. In terms of like stations, like news stations, but let's be honest, news stations are going out the door too. So it's not like they have this crazy base. They have billionaires backing them, the Ricketts included.
Yes, sir. And on top of that, I mean, think about it. You brought up a good point earlier about the Chicago Cubs and where, like, I mean, the Central's wide open too.
Yeah.
Like how crazy could it be that two teams that have kind of been stuck in the middle rut, the White Sox and the Cincinnati Reds.
I was about to say the Reds, yeah, for sure.
Are two teams that could be favored to win their respective divisions because the Reds have made some moves.
Yeah.
The Reds have made some serious moves. And, you know, the Cubs couldn't do anything because the Ricketts didn't want, what's the name, to spend no money. Somebody mentioned the other day that they felt that Paul Goldschmidt was actually on the decline and that the Cardinals won't be as good this year as they've had in the past.
Yeah.
Which is worth noting.
And they're paying him a lot of money,
and they're paying him a lot of bread as well.
People were wondering why the Diamondbacks traded him like that, too. And they got back two pitchers. I think Hudson and another pitcher. I think they won that trade, the Diamondbacks.
Yes, yeah. And then you got the Brewers, which, you know, I know they just got done paying Christian Yelich an $188 million extension. Yeah. A lot of people think that was undervalued, that he should have deserved more. But maybe, you know, the Brewers may have said something to him, or he may realize that he didn't want to handcuff the Brewers if they wanted to go out and make more moves. But they're kind of a middle-of-the-pack team, too. So, and then the Pirates are definitely in rebuilding mode. So, you know, they'll probably be in the bottom of the barrel. So, at the end of the day, you know, the Central is wide open. In the National League, I think the Central could be wide open in the American League. Yeah. But you're seeing two rebuilding teams that made not big splash moves, but they made moves that would make their team much better in the long run. In the White Sox and the Reds, and both teams could end up winning their respective divisions and going into the playoffs. So it's gonna be a very interesting season. And like I said about the West, you know, I know San Francisco's being on rebuilding mode. I know Colorado is still on the fence if they want to trade Nolan Arenado or not. I don't think they'll be competitive. I think the San Diego Padres are a middle of the road team. I think we know that the Dodgers are the kings of the West. They're probably going to run away and hide with that division. Can Arizona, though, be a wild card team? Because if we're talking about the National League Central being wide open, let's just assumingly say that it's the Reds. That means you're going to have to fight with St. Louis. You're going to have to fight with Chicago. You're going to have to fight with Milwaukee. Then if you move over to the NL East, which is another dogfight, because, and no offense to the Atlanta Braves, but I don't feel like they're the clear-cut favorites. Now, I know they've been great and they got great young talent, but when I look at a team like the Phillies, who by change of direction and bringing in Joe Girardi already makes their team that much better, you know, and then you add Didi and they added a few other pieces to a team
Zach Wheeler
as well
really
as another
pickup.
one.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that Philadelphia was such a terrible team last year. They got off to about the worst start you can think of. Yeah. And by the time they got hot, it was too late. The Mets are in the same exact boat. Because when you look at the New York Mets starting rotation, which is Jacob deGrom, which many people believe is the best pitcher in baseball, behind him Syndergaard, behind him Matz, behind him Stroman, and depends on who you bring it in for the fifth starter, is either Michael Wacha or Rick Porcello, and I personally think that Rick Porcello makes more sense. That is a solid starting five. Yeah. The biggest Achilles heel right now for the New York Mets will forever be the bullpen, because Edwin Diaz cannot close games in New York, and I don't think Dellin Betances, which there's been a lot of red flags on Dellin, that they're saying that his velocity has not been great in spring training. So either that's a legitimate concern, or he's just holding back the gun until the regular season starts. Yeah. They're saying that his velocity's gone down. Remember, he's been dealing with the Achilles issue, with knee issues, and with some arm and shoulder issues the last couple of years when he was in New York. Now, so let's just say for intensive purposes, if the Atlanta Braves end up winning the National League East. So, but then for the wild card, you're going to have to contend with Philly, because I think they're going to be good. Yeah. I think the Mets are going to be good. And I think that the Phillies, Mets, and the who am I forgetting? The Nationals.
You have to give them a little bit because they won the World Series, but still, they're not the best. They're not the best team in the division, I wouldn't say. They just went on a really nice run last year.
Exactly. So when I look at the Arizona Diamondbacks, can you separate yourself from basically the six teams that I just mentioned and the other two? Because The Dodgers and the Diamondbacks are going to be the only two relevant teams, in my opinion, in National League West. The only two relevant teams, because the Diamondbacks, they got a plethora of young talent, and you went out and got Madison Bumgarner that wanted to be in Arizona in the first damn place.
Yeah.
So now you go out and get your quote-unquote potential ace in Madison Bumgarner, even though he's kind of in the back end of his career, he's still a pretty good, damn efficient pitcher. So I think, again, so when we look at our middle-of-the-pack teams, we're talking Arizona, Cincinnati potentially if they don't win the Central.
I think Milwaukee
St.
will
Louis,
be in that conversation
Milwaukee,
too, because
the Cubs,
yeah.
the Mets, the Braves, the Phillies. So
this
is why, and this is exactly why I keep saying that if you're baseball, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Because trying to add in another wild card team so you can do this dumbass selection show because Rob dumbass Manfred wants to attract the younger generation because of baseball, that. Let me tell you something.
Hold on. This is this week's edition of Ragging on Rob. Let's rag on
Oh,
Rob.
yeah, that's right. On this week's edition of Ragging on Rob Manfred. Soccer. Let's talk about MLS for a second.
Okay.
Can you legit, and if they had done it, we would have heard about it. But can you tell me one legit thing that MLS has changed to try to entice the younger fan?
I can't think of anything.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
You just have to let it grow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, MLS wasn't as popular then as it potentially is now, but you can't change the game of soccer. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do to change it? Make it 40-minute matches now because the games are too long?
And also, people were criticizing the MLS about the playoff format, that they didn't like that the MLS had a playoff format. That would have been an easy target. MLS could have just said, okay, nobody likes the playoff format, we'll do what the Premier League does. Instead, they said, nope. We like the playoff format. We're good where we're at. It's also like, it's such a young league that you have to do it from grassroots, right? You got to get a very strong foundation before you start changing shit up. Like,
right.
You have to, like I said, I want to say 1999 was the first year of the MLS.
So.
They tried it in the early 90s and then they came back in 1999. That's really, really young, dude.
Yep.
Like, we have to remember the Premier League, I've said it before, started in the 1800s.
Yep.
So there's no comparison quite yet. And like you said, the MLS, they're on the rise right now. They've got new teams springing up everywhere. They're predicting another 10, 15 years they're going to be one of the biggest leagues in the world. It's crazy to see that type of trajectory, and they haven't changed anything.
And think about it like this too. All MLS is really doing is going out and getting these big time stars.
Yeah, like David Beckham and these guys.
Isn't Chicharito?
Chicharito's now in
somewhere
with the Galaxy. Yeah,
come on, man. Yeah. You had Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, Ibrahimovic, and let's be honest, coming to the MLS revitalized Ibrahimovic's career, because usually the thing is, if you come to the MLS, it's your last stop. It's like your farewell tour. All right, I'm no good anymore. I can't play European ball, so let me come here and dominate these scrubs. But when Ibrahimovic came to the Galaxy, he was doing so well that European clubs started calling him like, "Yo, Ibra, you look good." And now he's playing with AC Milan in Italy, and facing off with Ronaldo. So the MLS, you're right. All they're doing right now is saying they realize that the players make the league, right?
Yep.
That, like, Miami FC. The Miami FC is a brand new, it's Inter Miami. I'm sorry. Inter Miami is the name of the new team in Miami. David Beckham's team. He owns it with a big conglomerate in Miami. The big thing for them was, like, they're starting to call players like Cavani and some of these guys in Europe, like, hey, dude, in another year or two, we're probably going to be good. We've got high draft picks, this and that. So players are already, it's on their radar, right?
Yep.
Like, I know that Inter Miami has got David Beckham and a lot of money behind them. You know what? In another 2 years, when I'm sick of European football, I'm gonna go over there and start dominating over there, and it's gonna make for good stuff. And Ibrahimovic is a great example of it, because nobody really, let's be honest, there wasn't. Do you know who won the MLS title last year? I don't. I want to say it's the Sounders, but
I think it was the Seattle Sounders.
I want to say it was the Sounders, but I don't remember.
I don't know why I'm torn if it was between Seattle or Portland, but I know those were the two hot teams.
I want to say it was the Sounders, but I don't know. But you know what I do know? I do know Ibrahimovic had a fucking amazing season last year, and he did some amazing stuff and had great sound bites. So, Rob Manfred, what he doesn't understand is that the game doesn't need changing. That's the one thing I love, and I'm going to bring up this documentary every single week until they sponsor us. Ken Burns and these guys sponsor us because it's a great documentary, and one thing it teaches you is that baseball doesn't need changing, right?
No.
Like, the changes that they made this year are not that crazy. The 26-man roster is probably a little overdue. We could have probably done that 10 years ago, so I'm okay with that. I think they changed the September call-ups. You can only get 3 call-ups, where it was like before you would get like 15, right?
Yeah.
And that was too much. Remember September, you'd have 40 people on the roster. The dugouts, you couldn't even sit in them in September. But one thing that they haven't changed is the game, right? Like, the playoff format, fine. You want to add a team here or there, fine. But to make long-standing, and especially when it comes to games, I think we mentioned it, that I think it was 148 games for a long time, and then they changed it to 162. That seemed like, okay, fine. Going back to 148 at this point is a little counterproductive.
It is.
All you're really doing is you're shaving off not really a ton of games, right? The 48 to 148 to 162 is not that big of a jump. So it's not like, scaling it back to 148 is going to really do anything. All it's going to really do is take money out of the pockets of the owners, which is going to make them even more mad and even more greedy, which we're seeing in the NFL right now. The NFL, the owners, this is how when you're a billionaire, you don't need to do shit. You don't need to answer to nobody.
Right.
Because these NFL owners, after getting the pushback about these CBA negotiations, came back to the table and said, you know what? Maybe it's good that they say no to this, because you know what? We said 17 games. Let's make it 18 games. Fuck these dudes, because that's how crazy they are. They know that they are putting up their money for this league or for these teams and this and that. And I'll be honest with you, dude, the players need to stay strong, because the players are getting they're getting strong-armed right now by the league. And the MLB, it seems like, remember, like, Bud Selig was the owner of the Brewers,
yep.
And it seemed like there was a little bit of collusion between the owners and the league at some points. And then when Manfred came in, a lot of people were very like, oh, wow, Manfred's got, ruling with an iron fist. And he's, let's be honest, he did some good things to baseball when he first came in. And we were even, we even through some controversial, crazy shit that he's done in his first couple years in tenure. And then you and I started giving him the credit for the way he originally started handling this Astros thing. But the way that he's handled it over the last couple months, and specifically with these changes, it's almost as if like a sleight of hand. Like, I fucked up, so let me show you this really quick, so you start paying attention to this, because man, did I fuck up with that whole chunk of metal thing,
Yeah. The chunk of metal, the immunity,
and the immunity even further, because now we know that the Astros are snitching like crazy right now. Apparently, the reports are that the Astros are basically now fully cooperating to the point where it's like, okay, you guys want to attack us? We're gonna get every single person down, dude. I'm not gonna be surprised if middle of the season, because they're gonna say, I think the MLB has said we're not gonna do anything in the middle of the season. So all investigation is gonna have to wait until the season's ended. But you already know how the media is. They're going to leak something, and we're going to see, Mets player, this guy was on the Astros bench at that point, and
JD Davis.
And it's just going to be this crazy drama, and ESPN's going to eat it up, and the mainstream media is going to eat it up, because they're going to make so much money off of this controversy, and all it does is fuck people like us, because we just want to watch the game.
That's all we want to do. That's all I'm asking. And I almost borderline don't even want to watch any Astros games until they play the Yankees, because I don't want to hear about him. Once the season starts, dude, I almost borderline just don't want to hear about him. Yeah. As a matter of fact, A-Rod said the other day, where he pretty much told the Astros, you deserve everything that you got coming, because I took a 162-game suspension basically on a witch hunt, and I lost $35 million on a witch hunt, and I just accepted it. Instead of just making the Yankees look like full dumbasses.
He could have been a dick. He could have been
a huge ass about it and be like, I am not taking a suspension for something that A, I already admitted it to, and B, you can't prove.
Yeah.
But he went ahead and took the suspension because he didn't want to be a distraction to the Yankees. And he was like, so if I could lose $35 million, and I hate when people are like, well, $35 million is like $35,000 to us. No man wants to lose $35 million.
Or ask me
how much money
ask
do you
me or you
have?
$35,000. If somebody told you, hey, I could have given you $35,000 last year, but you know what? You lost out on that. You're gonna be like, dude,
I'd be heated.
What the hell? $35,000? Like, no, like I don't care how rich you get. $35 million is $35 million. And what's even worse is A-Rod was embarrassed by the league. He was demonized, and he was right. Remember, they couldn't prove what he said. It took them almost 10 years to prove what he did. We now know he was taking those gummy bears, and the gummy bears were like late release. But dude, shit. I mean, the dude had a case. He could have been a dick. He could have said, yo, you haven't proven anything. It's clearly going to take you a long time to prove this. I can be a dick and say, nope, I'm going to appeal this and fight every single, and he said he didn't want to put this bad spotlight on the Yankees.
Right.
And he was a team player about that, but at the end of the day, he knew he was guilty, but at the same time, he's still right. He could have been a dick about this, and he wasn't.
Right. Exactly. And then I was listening to ESPN 1000 and Margene Greco, who I guess can't stand A-Rod's like, he didn't sound sincere in his apology and blah, blah, blah. Like, who are you to say if he was sincere in his apology?
It's over now, dude. Get over it.
Right, dude, it's over now. But what A-Rod said holds merit. So for a guy that got suspended on a witch hunt for something they couldn't prove, we just proved that you were snitched. And then how dare Carlos Correa come out and say we didn't use buzzers? And Ken Rosenthal thinking like, dude, there's 4 reports saying you guys use buzzers. What are you talking about? Like, if I was Ken Rosenthal at that point, I would have entered the interview. But you know what Ken Rosenthal did on the low that nobody probably thought about? Let Carlos Correa hang himself for 4 more minutes by him opening his mouth. Mm-hmm. Like if there's one time, if there was a facepalm by the Houston Astros, was for whatever reason letting Carlos Correa open his mouth to try and defend anything that was happening because you just made the Astros look worse.
Yeah.
It's all you did. So for anyone that wants to kill Alex Rodriguez for his opinion on what happened and he's 100% right, dude, piss off because the man was, whether you hate A-Rod or not, what he said was correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything that the Houston Astros got coming to him, they got coming to him.
Yeah, and context matters because he was talking about it from a player's perspective.
Right.
He was saying it from a player's perspective. They deserve everything that's coming to them because as a player, I'm saying that if you cheat me out of a World Series and you're cheating and you have an unfair advantage over me, I don't care what happens to you. You deserve it, and he's right.
Right. He's 100% right. So that's why I'm saying, dude, I don't even want to watch Astros games,
and it seems like
even Astros games because I have the MLB package, so I can either listen to the Astros broadcast or the other. I don't want to hear them either because it's just going to be
homers.
It's going to be homers if I listen to the Astros. It's going to be anti-homers, and it's going to be, here's a cheating Astros, and blah, 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 blah. And it's going to be all these passive-aggressive comments. I just don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much done and over with. I've done all the yelling, all the pissed-off stuff I can do, and at this point, it's dead now. It's dead. But I just want to get ready for the season. I'm going to be watching a lot of American League Baseball because National League Baseball bores me to piss.
I can't wait till they change
Dude,
that.
That's
one thing they can change.
It's
That's
like
one thing
AFC.
You can change is the DH. Please change that.
Oh, my God. Please change that. Right. The 3-batter minimum rule is so damn stupid. And I heard a very interesting thing. Is that I feel there's a way that these players and managers are going to end up working around that. What if I was a pitcher and I'm like, okay, I just got the righty out, but now I got to hit against this lefty. All of a sudden, I'm gonna call the trainer. I'm like, hey man, I'm starting to feel a little stiffness in my hammy.
Yeah, because injury. I mean, an injury is an injury. Right?
Injury is injury.
But you know what they're gonna say, and also this is another thing they changed this year. It's a minimum of 15 days for pitchers now. There's no longer a 10-day DL for pitchers. If you have an injury, it's 15 days minimum. You're out. So there's no longer a 10-day DL, which means, by the way, you're going to have a lot of pitchers pitching for you this season, meaning your pitching depth should go down to triple and double A because you're going to need it in this season. Injuries are already tough with pitchers, but then when you're dealing with having that extended DL and then now the IL, excuse me, DL, right?
I do the same thing too, bro.
It's crazy because, something as simple as the DH rule makes so much sense, right? Like, okay, you know what, the NL, it's cool to see, Are we doing the NL the way that it is so that we can see 3 home runs a year from a pitcher? Like, you know, they're cool, but like it's like
or some pitcher hitting like 220 because you know it's so impressive.
Like, wow, or have you seen that he's able to hit 20%? Like, dude, I don't care about Madison Bumgarner hitting a home run.
I don't.
I really don't give a shit. Like, dude, at the end of the day, if I watch the White Sox and honestly there's something about watching the White Sox in interleague play when they're playing in the NL where you're like, oh, why the fuck is Giolito batting? Like, man,
yes.
my best pitcher now is at the box and he's swinging a bat like I would be if I was, you know, there, and he looks like even stiffer than I do, and he's like, you know, I think it's stupid. Like, one example is Jose Quintana. I think Quintana said that the last time that he picked up a bat other than interleague play was in grade school. So it's like, dude, I get it. You're gonna give them these batting practices, but I don't want to see that. I want to see, especially with the 26 man roster now, do away with that, dude. Give everyone the DH.
This would be a nice little segment. Steven says, Nick, come to New York to a Knicks game and tell Dolan to sell the team and get banned from Madison Square Garden.
His soft ass.
To where the troll says he won't come to New York, but I will be there. I will be there in August. I will be there from August 20th to August 31st, I think is what I said, like 10 or 11 days. I will be in New York. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think that same week that I'm out there, the Cubs are in town to play the Mets.
Ooh, you're going to have to go to that one.
Yeah, dude, no, I'm doing the double dip again. But no, a troll, trust me, I will be in New York. So let's see if you're man enough to actually show up, actually. I doubt that's going to happen, but we'll see if you're man enough. It does take us to the NBA.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
start. I just laugh
because I'm gonna start in Chicago real quick before I go off. What's
You're gonna
going
really
on
lay
in New
it
York.
into us now. Okay, lay into us.
I have absolutely no idea how I came across that post about Cristiano Felicio.
Yeah.
But bro, I was dying laughing because I'm sitting there like, dude, we keep ripping this dude, and some guy, like, the whole breakdown of Cristiano Felicio and his contract. And I didn't know that you hadn't seen that till you had commented on the other day. I thought you had laughed about it, and I went on by my business, right? Yeah. So that then predecessed to me putting up the clip of Jim Boylan calling a timeout on a backdoor pass that led to 2 points.
Not the first time he's done that, by the way.
And everything you said about Zach LaVine and the Bulls talking mad shit about Jim Boylan and the looks on their faces all came to light in that one clip because everyone on that bench, including the coaches,
the assistant coaches,
were all dumbfounded.
Oh my God.
Seriously, dude? Like, okay. Here's where I'm at with the Chicago Bulls. I don't blame Jim Boylan for being in the position that he's in.
Yeah.
It's not his fault. Because John Paxson and Gar Forman thought that Jim Boylan did such a great job last year. They interviewed nobody but Jim Boylan.
Yeah.
They thought this was the man for our team, and this is what you get. And it almost drives me nuts that it took to the All-Star game for Reinsdorf, younger, I won't say junior, Michael Reinsdorf to finally say, okay, maybe we should do some evaluation at the end. You think, bro, what rock have you been under the last 3 years?
The billionaire rock, baby.
That you thought that, like, it's just crazy because the Knicks from the 90s to the 2000s were that staple team. Just like the Bulls had the dynasty in the early 90s to the early and then the late 90s. The Knicks and Bulls were like the Eastern Conference rival.
Yeah.
You know, you had Bulls Pacers. Yeah, you had Knicks Pacers. Yeah, you had Knicks Heat. Yeah, you had Bulls Heat. Then when Shaq came in, you could throw the Magic in there a little bit.
But there was a special feel.
Between Chicago and New York. The number 1 market in the world against the number 3 market in the world. There was the buzz. And to see both teams being the complete drizzling shit It is embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing because I think in the Bulls case, it's embarrassing because a front office change could do wonders for the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
Where in the Knicks case, it's just that James Dolan, I have tried to defend James Dolan the best that I could to the best of my ability. Yeah. I can't do it anymore. I just can't because first,
how do you piss off Spike Lee?
Because this dumbass, Spike Lee, when I say dumbass, I'm referring to James Dolan.
James Dolan, yeah.
Because Spike Lee has been going in and out of the same elevator for 28 years. For whatever reason, the last week, he told Spike Lee that he, for whatever reason, couldn't go through that
another elevator. Yeah,
they want him to use another, and Spike Lee's like, well, what's going on? I don't understand. Yeah. Like,
he basically is an employee. He's an ambassador of the fucking Knicks.
Right. And for whatever reason, James Dolan told security to tell him no, he needs to go in the elevator with all the normal people. Right?
Power tripping.
He was power tripping. So Spike Lee obviously had a problem with it, as I feel like he should have.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't want to go through that elevator, you should have done that 28 years ago when you started coming to Knicks games.
Yeah.
So Spike Lee says he talked to security. He said, I'm not mad at you guys. You guys are doing what you're told, but I know where it's coming from, and it's wrong, and what he's doing is bogus. Mm-hmm. Here's what pissed me off, and I hate when this happens because I have a problem sometimes with own corporations that I just have a problem with this. When Spike Lee was sitting there watching the game, mm-hmm. What's his name? Mr. Power Trip himself comes out and says, hey, we need to go talk. Spike Lee said, piss off, I'm here to watch the game.
Right.
He's like, if you had something to say to me, you should have done it earlier. No, I'm here to watch the game. No, Mr. Dolan, I will not leave my seat. We will not talk.
Yeah. And the most embarrassing part is the Dolan, the power tripping, dude that he is, has the Knicks put out an official press release addressing the situation. You have to be the biggest egomaniac, sociopath in the world to have your official NBA team Twitter, which is supposed to put in this air of, you have to separate petty personal bullshit from the team. And to have your team put out an official press release to defend you, and all Spike Lee had to do to the Knicks case was, well, look at the picture. Him and James Dolan were shaking hands. And like, what does that tell us about? You're gonna tell me that a grainy photo, which didn't even look like it almost looked like it was like it could have been literally, I'm passing by you, shake your hand, and I'm gone.
Right.
But they're saying, well, we have a picture of him shaking his hand, so clearly they had to talk about it. And Spike Lee's like, no, we didn't. We didn't talk about anything. And the worst part is, people were like, oh, the Knicks will be fine. Same thing that Bulls fans always say. The Bulls will be fine. If one person boycotts. I read something that said the Knicks had the lowest attendance, in their game after that Spike Lee incident that they had in almost 20-something years.
Which means that the Knicks fans
are fed up.
They're fed up, and they've officially spoken. Because they've been talking about wanting James Dolan to sell the team for the longest time. But when you alienate Oak, who's in the hearts of most Knicks fans, then you alienate pretty much the ambassador of the New York Knicks to where Oakley is telling Adam Silver, look, you went out there and made Sterling sell his team. You need to make Dolan do the same. Which I understand why he would say that in anger, but you can't compare the two.
No.
Because Sterling said some racist on the tape owning a team that's 95% black.
Yeah.
Okay,
in a league that's
James Dolan's just right. James Dolan's just a dumbass who, for whatever reason, is going on this power trip. Yeah. And this is the wrong time for him to do that because you just introduced a brand new president who has a lot of ties in the NBA to help rebrand the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
How stupid are we gonna look when this team, no one wants to come here because you're a dumbass foreign owner.
Yeah.
To where now some guy who started to sell the team chant was investigated and he got banned from MSG for doing it.
And that to me is like, dude, that's so stupid.
You know what James Dolan is going to end up? And I hate to bring this because I hate to speak ill will of the dead. But James Dolan is going to end up becoming a Bill Wirtz. And when that happens, the New York Knicks think about it. Let's go ahead. Yeah. Look what Bill Wirtz did to the Blackhawks before he died. This dumbass was so convinced that he would not show Blackhawks games on TV because he thought that it would stop Blackhawks fans from coming to the games.
Yeah. And everybody around him was telling him, that's crazy talk. Don't do this. And he was like, nope.
He's like, no, I'm going to do it. And the only time that I can remember he ever showed a game was when Sidney Crosby kind of was just fresh coming into the league, and it was the only home game that he showed where the Penguins were in town. That's right.
He was the number one pick.
He was the number one pick. Right. And they went ahead and showed that game on TV just as like a
we'll throw you a bone.
We'll throw you a bone.
Yeah.
And the minute he died, when he died and Rocky mourned and took over, all the Blackhawks did was draft Kane, draft Taves, sign Hossa, win 3 Stanley Cups, and became a dynasty.
And it took 3 Stanley Cups to forget about that dude. Like it
addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not wishing death on James Dolan. I'm not. That's the most ignorant thing because it can come back on me.
Go, man.
All I'm saying is, if James Dolan really cared, he would sell the Knicks.
Yeah.
Because because think about it, you're not doing none of that nonsense on the Rangers side. So why now all of a sudden are you doing on the most profitable team in the NBA for as bad as they have been were the New York Knicks?
Yeah. But you know what it is too? The Knicks has a cultural effect.
Yes.
Right? Saying I'm the owner of the Knicks, it's like a worldwide black card, right? It's like I own the mecca of basketball. And again, that's an ego thing. You can't use that same card with the Rangers, right? As good as the Rangers have been and are, you can't say I'm the owner of the Rangers and use that as some sort of like status card.
Even though it's an original 16.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's because the Knicks are so integral to the culture of New York because basketball is so integral to the culture of New York.
Right.
So again, it's an ego thing. When you have a guy who, by the way, he has fuck you money. He has money that's like, I'm in a band now. I don't really need this and this and this and this. Now, speaking of owners, like you got Steve Ballmer now. He's looking to buy the Clippers out of the Staples Center, which I think is a perfect. That's the move right there.
Yeah,
they're trying to move somewhere not too far from the Staples Center, which is perfect. You're still going to be able to be central and have lots of fans there.
Whatever happened to that Anaheim move?
Yeah, I think
remember they were talking about that when Kobe was a free agent. They thought he should have went to the Clippers because they were talking about going to Anaheim.
And that was, but I think I want to say that was when they first transitioned out of Sterling, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But the big thing for the Clippers was, they had to find themselves out of mediocrity, and they did that this season with the Kawhi and Paul George shit. But it started last year, right? It started with this really gritty team and making an impressive move. And Steve Ballmer, he took he understands his role as an owner. I'm the dude who signs the checks. Yeah, I'm going to be involved in this and this and that. And yes, I'm going to be, I want to be involved in the marketing meetings. But nobody looks at Steve Ballmer as a obsessive, oh my God, he has to have his hands on everything. No, you never hear that. The one thing you'll hear is that players find him a little bit annoying, right? That he's always around in practices and this and this and that. But he's not constantly meddling in what the team is doing. And with Dolan, remember, Dolan was the guy who was affecting coaching changes, affecting GM changes. He had his hand in the whole Phil Jackson drama, and then
he had his hand in the Carmelo
saga.
Yep.
And the big thing is like, dude, the proof is in the pudding. If James Dolan truly cared about the Knicks, he would walk away. He would walk
away at this point,
and not even. You know what? If you don't want to sell the team, fine, but I don't want to see you. Like honestly, dude. I don't even want to see you at the court level anymore.
Thank you.
Stay in the box.
Thank you, because that's where all the beef is started.
Stay in the box. Do whatever you want in the box. But when you are running a team so poorly and you think that this is North Korea, that you can say, I own this building, so that person's not allowed to say not nice things about me. So you know what? Never again here. Like a lifetime ban for somebody saying sell the team. Go fuck yourself.
Seriously. It's embarrassing, dude. It's embarrassing. And
like, it's not much better for the Bulls, let's be honest. I mean, with the Bulls, Nick, Kobe White, he was mediocre to good early in the season.
Right.
But the last 5 or 6, actually more than that, last 10 or so games, he's been amazing.
Yep.
And it would take an absolute idiot, Jim Boylan, to ruin that. This guy, Kobe White, first of all, he had 50 points, I think, in 3 consecutive games or something crazy like that.
Right.
He's not starting. You know who is starting? Thomas Satoransky, who is a perfect bench player. He's like the guy you want to come off the bench. I'm not a coach, and I know that.
Right.
I'm not a coach, but I know Kobe White in the starting lineup makes more sense. He gets to play more minutes with the starters and the best players. He's going to get more open shots. Like, I'm not a fucking coach. How do I know this and you don't?
Right.
And the most embarrassing part about that video with the timeout is that's not the first time he's done it.
Right.
He's done this 10 times this season. And to the point where, again, you're catching players on tape saying, what the fuck are we doing? And now the new thing that's leaking is that Boylan is probably coming back next year. And that is a real problem if it's true. Because what they're saying now is that Paxson is going to he's going to step back. Basically, Gar is going to go away. Paxson is going to step back. He's going to do a Leon Rose type move himself, try and bring in somebody. I saw reports of Sam Presti. That's not happening. I saw things about Masai.
Is that the kid?
Presti
that
is
from OKC?
OKC, yeah.
Okay.
And then they're also talking Masai Ujiri. Neither of those are happening.
No.
Like, dude, if you're
not unless you're giving up first round picks.
No, and after what Presti did in Oklahoma City with the CP3 and the Paul George trade and all the picks they have, like, why would he want to come to this dumpster fire from there?
And on top of that, dude, Steven mentioned this earlier, but the Knicks are talking about bringing Carmelo back because Leon Rose wants Carmelo to finish his career in New York, whatever. And CP3's name's now has come up. So we'll see what happens on that. I think, to be honest with you, I think OKC, when they traded Russ, were kind of on tank mode, but didn't think that they were going to be as good as they are. They're like, okay, we'll just ride this train.
I think they're almost hoping that CP3 would kind of play well, but would be on a bad team so that they could trade for something for him. And then the last 3 weeks before the All-Star break, they found themselves in playoff contention.
Yes.
And I think that surprised people and themselves, I think.
I think so too. But, bro, I cannot believe you just said that. Wow.
So the rumor is that the rumor is that basically they're going to give Boylan another year because let me tell you something. I believe and I don't know what the math is on this, but they're still paying Tom Thibodeau. They're still paying Hoiberg. And then if they fired Boylan, they would have to be still paying Boylan too. That means they would be literally paying 3 coaches who aren't playing or aren't coaching for them and aren't working for them anymore. And you'd have to have a coach still. You'd have to pay another coach. This is embarrassing. Like at this point, this was the year this was like our Brooklyn year. This was supposed to be, okay, Kenny Atkinson comes out of nowhere. And by the way, he got fired this week. Congrats on that.
He got fired today.
Today. Sorry. Yeah, today. So
no.
Yeah.
They mutually agreed to part ways.
Which means KD was like, yeah, fuck this. I'm not playing for this dude
Seriously.
next year. So yeah, good luck with that. But so the Bulls were expecting this is our Brooklyn year. Nobody's gonna expect anything, and we're gonna be the 8th seed or the 7th seed, and people are gonna really respect us next year. And you know what? When we trade Otto Porter and we get out of cap hell, people are gonna come here. That's not happening anymore. The Otto Porter contract, you're stuck with it. He's got a player option. He's going to come back next year. You're going to pay him $27, $28 million, whatever it is. You got Zach LaVine who's going to be a free agent after this year. There's no chance he signs an extension. Why would he? Why would he want to stay here?
Right.
And then again, we talked about the marketing thing. There's not a chance in the world that marketing isn't testing the market on free agency in another year and a half. He has to. He would be crazy to sign an extension with us because even if he hasn't even if he's underachieved with the Bulls, he's gonna get a lot more money on the free agent market than the Bulls probably would even want to pay him. So
right.
It's an embarrassing time to be a Bulls fan. It's painful to watch the games. Usually I can make it through games. But the last couple of weeks, first of all, the Blackhawks are in the same position. The Blackhawks now want to win games. Like, oh yeah, we're out of the playoff race. How about this? We'll tear off a three-game winning streak. Like, we don't even know how to lose correctly. Like, we can't even lose correctly. And the Bulls are in the same position because they, I know they've lost 10 or 11 of 13 or something, but they've, won 2 of the last 3 games and they're playing better. And honestly, Boylen is the only reason why we're not, because our players are pretty fucking good. The problem is we're losing games because our team is not well coached and we have a terrible coaching staff. We don't have one veteran on the coaching staff. And Boylen is the most senior guy. And this guy, he comes out. You know what the most embarrassing part is? The Bulls lost to the Timberwolves, I believe it was on Tuesday. He came out huffing and puffing after the game. Well, my team has to play better, and we've got to do better on the offensive boards, and this and this and that. And then one of these writers, I want to say it was, he's amazing. I forget his name now. Dude with glasses, skinny white dude with glasses. I always forget his name. Casey Johnson. Johnson. Amazing for the Bulls. And he basically wrote an article that said Jim Boylen was mad about X, Y, and Z, and the Bulls' numbers in that game were above what their season averages are. So he's complaining about offensive rebounds. The Bulls averaged this many offensive rebounds. That game, they had 3 more offensive rebounds. So he's complaining about it, but they're making an improvement. Like, this dude doesn't know what he's doing. Like, we are so screwed that this guy is out there acting. He went out to a media scrum to act like, our players are not doing the effort and we're not doing X, Y, and Z. And then you do the math and you're like, yo, they did better this game than they did in previous games. Like, this is crazy, man. As a Bulls fan, it's sickening to see what is this franchise that is so, well revered and well respected go to these depths. Man, dude. Even the baby Bulls weren't in this sort of
Hell
position.
No. Tim Floyd and
even like Vinny Del Negro Scott Skiles, they were never this bad.
And think about it. You can hate on Skiles all you want. He had the Bulls in the playoffs with Ben Gordon,
and he got like 3 jobs after us too. So
come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So, Vinny Del Negro, I bet you look real nice as a head coach over this dumbass.
Back-to-back 41 and 41 seasons. Like, shit. The dude's consistent. He got you 41 wins. And that was with a team that was undermanned, too, like with that Bulls team.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, it's safe to say right now my mind is 100% baseball right now because any inkling of Blackhawks or Bulls that sneaks in there is embarrassing. It's like the Blackhawks, you see this team that is coached by this like 35-year-old guy who has no experience other than Rockford. And they look like they are uninterested at times, but the last couple games, Corey Crawford has been good, and the team looks more energized. And now all of a sudden they're I think 4 points behind for one of the wild card spots. They're not going to make it. We're not going to make it, dude. Let's even if we do make it, so we can be slaughtered by one of the teams in the first round. Listen, dude, I get a lot of shit about this with the Blackhawks fans because people say, "Well, look at St. Louis last year. They made the playoffs and man, they were terrible at some points." I don't know, dude. I don't see this team making a St. Louis type run. I just don't see that.
No.
It's bad right now. At least you have the Rangers, too, man. Dude.
I wish we could turn it. Well, we're losing to the Devils right now, 3-2. Okay. This is Shesterkin's first game back since he got into that car accident and fractured his rib. Ooh. And then of all the games, so first, big ups to Mika Zibanejad in that 5-goal game he had the other game against the Washington.
And he had 2. Doesn't he have 2 today? I saw that in the chat. I think he has 2 today, too.
I think he has 1.
1, okay.
Yeah, he's got 1.
Man.
And yeah, dude, I don't know.
They were going to trade him at the deadline, weren't they? Weren't they talking about trading him? Oh no, okay, no. That was Kreider.
Yeah, that was only Kreider. Was the only guy that they was talking about trying to trade, and then they ended up paying him. But
7-year extension, right, or 6-year extension?
7 years extension for 6.5 per, and he happened to break his foot. But they're talking about 4 to 6 weeks.
By the way, less than Felicio, by the way.
Bro, I read that and I could not believe it. I was like, they really did pay this man $32 million. And this dude is dude, I could play center better than Cristiano Felicio. Okay, and I don't even really play basketball like that. Like, I'll watch it, but I don't play basketball like that. But it's bad. But Pavel Buchnevich did come back from he was in the same car with Igor. Mm-hmm. So this Igor's first game back, so he's probably a little rusty right now. Steven's giving me updates on the game. Devils winning 3-2. The Rangers have been probably one of the better third period teams I've seen in a while. So if they keep it around that 3-2, I have a great idea that they're going to end up making this comeback and win this game because the Islanders, the fish sticks have fallen off so hard that it is unreal. This team was at one point at the beginning of the season actually leading the Metro, I think is what we're in. Mm-hmm. Dude, the Rangers are 2 points behind, and we still would have been, but Brady Shea's dumbass that we just traded to Carolina messed up and allowed the Islanders to tie the game. But Carolina beat them in They beat them in overtime. Mm-hmm. So the Islanders still get that extra point. But dude, they're falling off the wayside really hard. Like Barry Trotz, I'm pretty sure his head is spinning, wondering the hell is going on. Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on, but what was I gonna say? Yeah, dude, the Rangers have kept some heat, but go figure. The one game that Henrik Lundqvist was in, dude, they got shellacked. And it's time for Henrik to go. And it kills me to say that, and I wish we would have gotten a ring for him, and we should have gotten a ring for him in 2014 when we were supposed to. And that's what happens when you lose. I think we lost 3 games in that series in overtime. Yeah. And that's what happens. And he just hasn't recovered. I think just too much on him. He played a lot of games, and when we had good young goalies the Asslanders are butthurt over the OT goal. I did see that. I did see what they were talking about, that the Islanders think that stick was too high over the goalpost, and even though they reviewed it, they said his stick was still level with the goalpost, which makes it a good goal. Dude, when you're losing the way that the Islanders have, you're gonna be butthurt on losses. It's even though it's clear as day, you're gonna get butthurt when it comes to
especially losses like that where it's controversial.
Reps place. Why did you guys switch seats? Dude, I always sit on the left side.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've never switched seats.
I sit on the right side at reps, but I sit on the left side in here. I haven't switched seats. Always. That's always, yeah.
By the way, if you see me looking down, it's because we're watching the prelims of the UFC 248 card. It's on ESPN right now. We're watching Deron Winn versus Gerald Meerschaert. Pretty nice little fight. And then, obviously we're going to have the Joanna Wei Lee fight, and then the Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero.
I wanted to bring this up real quick before we get into UFC.
Yeah, because we also have to talk. By the way, did we talk about the Hook? We did. We talked about Hooker and Felder.
We did.
After. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Did you see here where the Hawks and I'm talking about the Atlanta Hawks CEO wants the NBA to start in December, not October?
Really? So that they go deeper in the summer is what he wants?
Right. So
that would probably help with ticket sales, I'm imagining, too.
Yep. He's saying that it was a piece written by Ryan Young yesterday, and it says there have been several ideas thrown around regarding changes to the NBA schedule in recent months, including the creation of a midseason tournament and shortened season and more. But Atlanta Hawks CEO Steve Koonin revealed his idea to tweak the league schedule on Friday while speaking at the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference in Boston, where Koonin said he wants to push the season back 2 months. He said relevance equals revenue. We've got to create the most relevance, and the revenue will fix itself. He said also, I guess there's like little bits and pieces in here.
Yeah, because he wants to space himself out from hockey and football a little bit.
That's exactly what you're saying. So mid-December, he said, a big piece is you don't have to reinvent the wheel to enhance ratings. Sometimes moving away from competition is a great way to grow ratings. Like he said, if King Kong's at your door, you might go out the back door rather than go out the front door and engage in a hand-to-hand fight with King Kong. Many times at the start of the NBA season, we are competing with arguably the best Thursday night football game with the TNT, with the NBA on TNT.
Sundays.
Yeah, and because at the beginning of the season, there's very little relevance of the NBA. The relevance is now. This is when people are talking about it.
He might
be right.
He's got a point.
He might be right, because think about it. When they start the NBA season, You have the football season that's full intact.
College
the hockey
football
college football is about to is definitely in full swing, and they're starting to get towards the
and baseball's still around too.
The World Series is still around potentially, and the hockey season has already started 3 weeks prior.
Yeah, for sure.
So basically, it's like the NBA. It's like if you go to the party, you're the last one to show up, and there's no food left.
Yeah,
that's basically what the NBA is saying,
yeah.
And he may be right, because if you go into
because there's only so many eyes that can watch at that point too, right?
Right.
So it's like you're not going to be able to, like, dude, I'm a hardcore sports fan. It takes a lot for me to pull out the laptop and the iPad to watch both a game on TV and then another sport here, another sport here. It has to be something big. And I'll be honest with you, I've never done that with basketball that early in the season. You're never like, oh, football's on, college football's on, this is on, but you know what? Let me pull up this, Lakers versus Bucks game on TV. You don't do that early.
The first 3 games of the season, unless you're a real diehard NBA fan. Nah, but
maybe the first 3 weeks just to get it out of your system, but after that, you're like, all right, we got 82 games going.
Right. I'm still in football mode. My team might be in the playoffs, or my college football team might be in the whatever. So, and then he says right here, he says I just mentioned that the league has to compete with the first few months of the season, whereas a December start wouldn't overlap much at all with the NFL or college football, which would be at the start of its bowl season.
Yeah, it's only 2 months left in football season.
Right. The proposal will allow it to take over more of the summer, whereas Major League Baseball and the PGA Tour dominate the sports world in the United States for the most part.
That's true.
And wrap up just before the football season starts in the fall. I'm all for it.
I'm all for it too, man.
I'm all for it, because I'm not for the mid-season tournament, and I'm definitely not for this whole shortening of the season.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to start it later, because think about it like this. In the middle of the NBA season, the Stanley Cup Finals is over.
Right.
In the middle of baseball, because believe it or not, a lot of people don't watch baseball. So what's the next best thing?
Yeah.
You're not gonna watch the W. The only thing that you would compete with is the WNBA.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll figure a way to fix that too.
Right.
So I'm all for it.
Me too. And I know we clown on Atlanta because they're the ones who let Migos drive their draft decision of Trae Young and all that. But I will say this about Atlanta: they're one of the they've made a lot of changes to their stadium, and they're one of the more profitable teams of all the teams that are losing right now. They're one of the more profitable. I talked to you about how Killer Mike has a barbershop there. That's a box essentially. The box is like you're getting your haircut and watching the game at the same time at the Atlanta game, and that's a cool little feature. And they've done a lot of stuff like that. They're very advanced when it comes to that. As we just watched Duran win, he had Mearshart on Queer Street a couple of times, and next thing you know, Mearshart hits him with this left, and Duran just starts stumbling around the octagon, and I believe Mearshart got him in a rear naked. So yeah, it looks like Mearshart won that one. So I'm 0 for 1 so far on my picks. Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, the ones you put up in the Facebook page.
Yeah, I'm usually better at this, guys. I'm sorry. And a lot of people were giving me shit. I got a couple personal messages saying, "Wow, you're not picking Joanna tonight." Dude, we'll talk about this later when we get to it, but Joanna's rubbing me the wrong way, the way she's going about this shit lately. So, oh my God, yeah. Duran took a nasty, nasty left, and then he's just stumbling around and kept eating shots. Mearshart then gets some side control on him. Oh, he rear nakeded him, yeah. Rear naked choke, and Win was almost tapping before the choke was even in. And we'll use this time. Oh yeah, no, that's tight. We'll use this time to plug our services, guys. If you guys are already familiar with PodRiver Network, check out macandblack.com. But also, guys, there's other podcasts on our network, including Boss to Boss, and local level podcasts with our producer Steve. Really cool. More locally focused and business focused too. So yeah, you get your fix there. So check us out there, and also leave us a review, guys. For those of you that are on here, I see a couple of you guys on here every single week. That's awesome.
Yes.
But if you haven't gone into your iTunes or your Google Play, whatever your service is, and given us a review, what are you doing, dude? So do that for us. Appreciate you guys again for all the support. But yeah, go ahead.
Can I bring this up before we go into UFC?
Please.
Sports betting has now made its official way into Illinois, and it will open up at Rivers Casino.
Next door to me, too. I'm about to be making...
on Monday, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, why are they expanding this parking garage?
Oh, that's right.
Because that's what they're doing.
They're expanding the parking garage.
Dude, do you guys really
I just
think
thought
that?
they made a ton of cheddar. I didn't
That's
think
what
about
I
that.
thought, too.
Yeah.
Nope. And I know it's going to be a trip because my dad lives in Indiana. And he said that the sports betting at the Horseshoe is so big that they had to expand the room because people who play cards or play at the tables can't get in there because everyone's at the sports betting.
And that Horseshoe has people coming from Ohio.
Bruh.
Like that Horseshoe is... I used to work World Series of Poker events there. Dude, there was people there daily from West Virginia. Like, dude, there's people who go from all over the states that go to that Hammond Casino.
Yes. And now they're going to be here at Rivers. This is what I'm going to say. First off, I think it's a great move for Rivers. Yeah. I think it's a great move for the state of Illinois. It's a step in the right direction. I'm leery of going in there for that reason.
Okay.
I'm not trying to be elbow to elbow.
Yeah, no, for sure.
With 700 other middle-aged dudes.
Sweaty
as balls. Freaking
it's already a tight kind
trying
of
to put
there.
$100 on the money line between God knows who.
Yeah. The daily betting is going to get crazy for sure.
It's going to get insane.
Yeah. I was going to go in there Monday to do the season-long one, but the daily ones, I didn't think about that. That's going to be nuts.
It's going to be ridiculous. This is what I'm going to say. I cannot wait till FanDuel figures it out in Illinois. Now, I know they've done it in New Jersey. I know they figured it out in New York. I know they figured it out in Pennsylvania. When FanDuel figures it out here in Illinois, it's a wrap. I'm not big into sports betting, but I will always try my luck here and there. Like, if I know I got $100 to blow, I'm like, you know what? I'll put 100 on, I don't know, like the Colts -3 because I really
football is usually dominating because it's so, it's easy to get a feel for the teams, and they only play, once every week. Whereas, dude, baseball and like people who do basketball betting, that's crazy to me, dude. You got to be deep in the game, and you got to be a dedicated gambler to do the basketball games, man. That's a rough game to play because especially in the regular season, we saw it with the Bucks like lately. The Bucks went on this 2-week tear, and the last week they really can't do much against some of these teams. And I saw it against the Lakers yesterday. Giannis, he tweaked himself a little bit with the left knee, and they're gonna have an MRI for him tonight. They're hoping it's nothing serious, but you never know.
That brings up another point I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Even if Giannis was 100% healthy, I'm still not buying the Milwaukee Bucks as the East representatives.
Wow.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I can't, dude. As long as Mark Budenholzer is your coach,
that's right. Yeah.
I cannot buy it. I just can't. And look at it like this. People are like, well, Nick, what do you think? The Raptors are going to do it? Blah, blah, blah. Look at it like this, dude. Pascal Siakam is a 5 times better player than he was when they won the championship, and that was every bit of 4 or 5 months ago.
And Nick Nurse is a legit
coach because I thought about it like this. What is one of the conceptions about Toronto Raptors? Well, if Dwayne Casey was here, he would have been able to do the same thing. I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
He had that chance.
Thank you. He had that chance. He couldn't beat LeBron. And then here's what makes it worse. What makes it worse is you went to Detroit, and I'm not saying that the Pistons in any way were a better team than what the Toronto Raptors were, but that team never got better.
Yeah, it's a dumpster fire now, too, because they've got Blake Griffin who... there's rumors of him retiring. I mean, that's pretty crazy if he does that because he's got a good entertainment career. He wants to be a comedian. He wants to be an actor. And then they traded Drummond for pocket change, which apparently people were telling me that he has a player option after this year, and he was going to leave either way. So that's why.
Blake?
I'm sorry, Andre Drummond. That's why they traded him to Cleveland because they're like, all right, we're not going to get anything, so let's just take what we can get. And then Derrick Rose, I heard that they refused a trade from the Lakers that included a first-round pick in Alex Caruso. And the Lakers were going to take on Derrick Rose, and they said no. So it's a dumpster fire over there, too, and he could have stayed in Toronto. And the big thing about Toronto is, because like Milwaukee, their rotations are wonky. Like watching them against the Lakers, it's like, I get positionless basketball, right? I get the idea of like, okay, I'm going to put my best players on the floor and they'll figure it out defensively when it comes to matching up. But when you've got, they played DiVincenzo a lot at the 2 yesterday, but then you got like Marvin Williams playing, and then the Lopez brothers. Essentially, they make they're almost the same player now. Like it used to be that Brook was a little bit more offensive oriented, and he obviously grew that 3-pointer. But Robin now is pretty much the same player. He grew it with the Bulls. He can play in the post. He can shoot a little bit if you want him to, and they don't have any athleticism up front other than Giannis. And the problem with that is when you're facing like what they face with the Lakers, LeBron and AD, they could just play a 2-man game all night if they wanted to. And one interesting thing that you're seeing now, and Giannis is having to adjust to it, is teams are going after him defensively.
Yep.
Like, dude, okay, you want to be 7 feet tall and you want to play in the post? All right, we're going to post you up, even if it means that we're not going to be able to play our game. I'm going to put my 7-footer, my center, who's probably 25, 30 pounds heavier than you, I'm going to have him bang you in the post, and it's going to be rough for you all night. And we saw it against the Lakers, banged up Giannis, and he still had a pretty decent game. And Giannis, dude, we talked about him growing his shot and growing his game a little bit. He's not there yet. I will say this whole Harden thing, first of all, he's coming off like a little biggity bitch in the media with all of this, like, well, I wish I was 7 feet tall like Giannis and I could jump out the gym. I would do this, this, and this, and that. It's like, dude, everyone's their own player. We get it. You're not a shooter. He's not a shooter, and you are. This is all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, Giannis, like, he took a giant step over the last 2 seasons, and everybody realized, oh my God, he's so much better now. And the only thing he needed to do now was what we talked about before the season. He's got to improve his shot. And he's not consistent enough yet. He made a couple 3-pointers last night, but they're still giving him the shot.
Yep.
They're still playing him for the drive. And they're not giving him the calls that he was getting last year for some reason. This year, first of all, he travels more than anybody.
Oh.
I thought Harden was bad. He travels almost every play, Giannis
But
does.
Max, that's the Euro step.
Yeah, no. And you know what I will say? Harden does do the Euro step. Giannis doesn't. Giannis... He is just so athletic that he thinks he could get away with an extra step. And it's like, that's not how this shit works. And they called it a couple times last night, and they usually don't call it. So I think the league is a little bit adjusting to Giannis, because let's be honest, he was a different player last year, and they didn't have a chance to adjust to him.
Right.
This is the first year we're really seeing Giannis in his full form, because when Giannis came into the league, he was just a skinny dude with potential. And every year he got a little bit better. And then, like I said, he took those incremental steps the last 2 years. And now the league is just like, all right, let's see what you can do. I'll tell you one thing, he's not a number one. I don't think so. I think Milwaukee, like we talked about what they did with Middleton and Bledsoe, they had a really great opportunity to do something and bring in somebody this year, and instead they decided to bring in the same core. They let Malcolm Brogdon go, but then they extended Chris Middleton, and then they gave Brook Lopez an extension, and then they committed long-term to Eric Bledsoe. These players don't work out. Like Middleton is, last night I think he was like missed 12 of 13 shots that he took. These guys, he needs a number one that can make him a strong number two, similar to what like Houston did. Like, dude, I'll admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong about Houston. I know that they're still a work in progress. I thought they should have kept Capella,
right?
But what they're doing with Russell and Harden is working for some reason. Teams are just not able to handle both of them on that 2-man game. And same thing we're seeing with LeBron and AD, and the same thing we're going to see with Kawhi and PG. And teams have to adjust to that. Teams like our teams we're way far away from that. I don't even think we have a 1 or 2 yet. So we can't even think about that. But dude, if you're
y'all got a 1.
Yeah, I'll say we get a 2. We got a 2 in Levine.
Okay.
He needs to take a serious step next year defensively to be considered a 1. I thought he could have made the All-Star team this year, but I still don't think he's a 1. But all in all, Milwaukee is not the end-all, be-all right now. And I'll take good coaching over solid players every single day.
Any day of the week.
Because a guy like Nick Nurse, I guarantee you, if Nick Nurse was in Milwaukee, they probably would have won the championship last year.
It is not even up for debate.
Yeah.
Not even up for debate. So, I don't know, man. A lot of people are stroking the ego of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, for sure. And Giannis, too.
Yeah, and Giannis, and they're already talking about making Giannis MVP again. But no offense, man, I gotta
let him play the season.
it's not even so much letting him play the season, but man, you can't ignore what LeBron's doing in Los Angeles.
No,
you just can't. You know,
it's not like they're that stacked. It's him and AD.
It's just him and AD.
Yeah,
and it's not like AD's played every game with LeBron in it. You know, he's still showing a little bit of that. You know, that fragileness that he has, and when he has it, LeBron James. Think about it like this, dude. LeBron James, if you take away AD for a second, LeBron James is averaging what, like 6, 7 assists, passing to guys like KCP, Caruso,
Danny Green,
JaVale McGee.
Yeah.
How
Dwight
is
Howard.
that not MVP-esque?
Yeah.
Dude, like seriously. Like, okay, look at it like this. John Stockton, I'm pretty sure at least 6,000 of his assists that he made went to Karl Malone, who's the second all-time leading scorer in the NBA.
Yeah.
Okay? LeBron James is averaging damn near 7 assists, passing it to guys who would play in the YMCA.
Yeah, and they got another one in
Especially
Deion
JaVale
Waiters.
McGee.
Yeah.
And they just went and got Deion Waiters. Really, dude?
For what?
Really? Come on, man.
J.R. Smith would have been a better signing to me, honestly, because at least J.R.'s not going to play and he knows LeBron, whereas Deion Waiters, every single team he goes to seems to hate him for some reason.
Because Deion Waiters is an idiot.
He's garbage, too.
That's all that is.
He's garbage.
Overrated.
He had
garbage.
one good season and got paid. Like, Miami couldn't wait to trade his ass. Remember he had the whole edible situation earlier this season,
and freaked out on the plane and all that stuff.
If you can't handle your weed, just, put the edibles down.
Stop smoking it,
Put the edibles down, please, sir.
Sweet mamacita. Yeah, dude. Rangers right now are getting smoked. They're losing 5-2.
Wow.
Steven said they're playing loosey-goosey. Come on, man. Can't be giving up no good opportunities, man, especially with the Islanders losing. We gotta step up.
Loosey-goosey is what the Blackhawks do, baby. That's our game.
So we got about we got about 45 minutes. Let's get into this UFC fight.
Yeah, please, because the big thing for me right now is I want to get your opinion on both the main fights, but I also want to talk a little bit of backstory here because there's some other UFC stuff that I want to talk to you about.
Sure.
Khabib Ferguson
Saw
is
that.
coming up.
Saw
and
that.
that was intense.
Kicked his fake-ass belt.
I hate those fake belts. Like, dude, I understand they let you keep those belts. Stop wearing it. You look like a clown.
Isn't that what Brock Lesnar told Shane Carwin when Shane Carwin became the interim heavyweight champ? He's like, hey, that's not a real bet. I'll see you. And choked his ass out in the second.
And Colby Covington does it, and all these clowns did it. And Joanna could have done that. By the way, she didn't. She came to that was another intense one. But we'll talk about that because I want to get to that because that's why I was a little bit down on Joanna. But yeah, Khabib and Tony looks already really big. I think we're something like 40 days away. I really hope that fight happens.
What's that, like April 18th, I think?
April 18th, I think.
Yeah.
And then this is number 6. I think this is try number 6. So if this doesn't happen, there's no chance to ever book this fight ever again.
Right.
Which is a problem for both of these fighters. So that both of these fighters have to be really careful about that. Now, we did have a couple of fights that did come to fruition since we last spoke. And there's another one that's really hot on the cards right now, which is Dominic Reyes and John Jones 2. They're going to try and apparently make that happen. Jan Blachowicz, who just knocked out our boy, what's his name, Corey Anderson, Rockford kid. He deserved the number one. He is the number one contender. But dude, after that Dominic Reyes fight, it's hard to say that anybody has given John Jones that type of competition since the Gustafsson fight, which John Jones was on coke for essentially.
Gustafsson won.
Gustafsson,
I'm talking about Bones versus Gustafsson. Part one.
Yeah. Gustafsson, he had a tremendous fight, but let's be honest, again, they did the whole tie goes to the champion thing. And I don't believe in that, man. I don't believe in the whole tie goes to the champion thing.
This is when I knew that John Jones knew damn well he didn't win that fight.
Yeah.
If I fought you, and I know that I dominated you,
I don't need
the minute that Joe Rogan puts the mic in my face, I'm not defending myself on how I won the fight.
No.
That's how I knew Bones Jones knows he damn
right
well
away. He was like, I'm telling you, I did this and this. Yeah.
He was like, as soon as he got, he's like, guys, I did a lot of takedowns. That means a lot in the fight. Okay.
Selling it
now
to the crowd.
I know you guys are upset, but he did not beat the champ. Dude, you just pretty much just told the whole world that goddamn well you lost.
And he did that in the Reyes fight. Remember, he grabbed the mic. He's like, I thought I took him down better. I controlled the center of the octagon.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm
don't
saying.
have to.
I forgot he did that in the Dustin fight too.
Yeah,
like guys. I know you guys are mad. I know, but I'm still the champ. And then this is what kills me. All the freaking nut huggers of Bones Jones actually believes that crap. Like, if you want to beat the champ, you gotta beat the champ.
And championship rounds. If you don't win in the championship rounds, then that's really bad, dude. This is a fight, a 5-round fight. Whoever wins the most amount of rounds wins the fight. Simple as that. It's as if every single fight starts off with no champions. Who wins this fight? That's all it is. And John, he needs first of all, the UFC needs this.
Yes.
They need this type of competition because right now the heavyweight division is being held up by Stipe. Stipe is getting a second opinion on his eye. He's trying to clown DC the way DC clowned him. When DC won against Stipe, he took a year off, and a lot of it had to do with injury and him being busy. And Stipe is basically saying, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to do the same thing to you. And at the end of the day, right now, the UFC fans are being held hostage because there's no heavyweight action. And let's be honest, I can't wait for that Rosenstruik Francis Ngannou fight. That's going to be a banger. But also, John, we need to see this John Reyes fight again. And we need to see, first of all, can Reyes do that again?
Yeah.
We saw what Reyes did, and whether or not you believe he won that fight, you have to give it to the guy. He had a formula that was working, and he was hitting John with punches that he probably has never had been landed on him in a long time.
Right.
And honestly, I can't remember the last time John was getting hit and almost looked stumbly because he has a great chin. And there was a couple of times in that fight with Reyes that happened. So I'm looking forward to that. It's not official yet, but they're saying it's going to happen.
They were showing. I saw someone on Facebook about like the 25 best knockouts, and when Ngannou knocked out Overeem with that uppercut, and his head went back and his toes were curled.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like nothing against Rosenstruik, but man, you got a big matchup coming, dude.
And Rosenstruik's a bad motherfucker himself because he went out and campaigned for that fight.
Yep.
He's been talking about Francis for 2 or 3 fights. He knows he's got jailhouse mentality.
Yep.
You go in, you find the biggest dude who everyone's scared of, and you beat the shit out of him, and now I'm the dude. And Rosenstruik, let's be honest, dude, he's put on a couple shows himself.
Yeah.
He had that Overeem fight where he won in the last second. He had another one where he beat a dude in 46 seconds or something like that. So, that's going to be a decent-ass fight. The problem right now is that it's crazy to say. Remember when UFC and there was Pride and there was sort of all these competition around
K1.
the K1, and the big thing was the heavyweight, right? The heavyweights are this is the division where the best fighters in the world are there, and that's no longer true right now. It's like, especially in MMA, maybe in boxing, right? In boxing, we're seeing with Fury and Wilder and Joshua and even Ruiz to a certain extent, but right now in the UFC, by the way, DC is like thinking, basically DC has said, if it's not Stipe, I'm done, right? So your exit stage left for him. Rosenstruik and Ngannou, me and you are going to pay attention to that because we love that.
Yeah.
But the average fan, do they know who Ngannou is? Which is crazy to think about. This dude Ngannou is a monster, a killer, and not a lot of people know who he is. And let's be honest, John, he was asked about that, and this is how you know John doesn't really give a shit about fighting the best people. Because if he did, he'd be talking about, because he's already talking about Izzy, because Izzy's going to be a big fight for him. He's going to make a lot of money off of that. But when people ask him about Ngannou, he's like, oh, no, that's not going to happen, dude. Because he knows that Ngannou's a bad motherfucker, and he doesn't gain anything from that. Nobody knows who he
if
is.
John Jones
saying going up to heavyweight and fighting, he would get, honestly, Ngannou's
murdered.
Power. I know he took a couple shots from Reyes, but that Ngannou power is next level.
Is next. That's why I told you, what was it, like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
That I don't think John Jones going to the heavyweight division is the best move for him.
Yeah.
Because no offense, dude, DC, I know he beat DC twice as a light heavyweight.
Yeah.
But I think the game would be a little bit different if DC put on more weight against John
wrestle
Jones.
better, yeah.
He can wrestle a lot better at 2 whatever than he would at 205.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me that John Jones would have to go against Francis Ngannou, Derek Black Beast Lewis,
or even Rosenstruik,
Stipe, DC 25 pounds heavier,
not gonna happen.
He would get murdered.
Yeah.
Dude, Ngannou would knock out Bones Jones so bad that the Las Vegas Police Department would be at his locker room saying, "We gotta arrest you for assault."
and let's be honest, I know Jones is long and lanky, but if he put on weight, do you think he'd even be close to the strength level of somebody like Ngannou? Like Ngannou would ragdoll him in the grappling game. He couldn't grapple with him. He would have to keep distance and use his reach. And with Ngannou, that doesn't work because he could just throw this looping right and take your head clean off.
He could fake that left like he did against Overeem and just come dead at you with an uppercut. And if you're going to take that much PSI from the chin up, dude, it's over with, bro. That's why I'm saying that no offense to Bones Jones, you're not Couture.
No.
Couture was able to and by some found the youth won the heavyweight championship in his latter days of his career. Mm-hmm. And was actually wearing down and out-wrestled Brock Lesnar before he just took one to the head and just could never recover from it.
Right.
I am officially convinced that if Couture never took that punch from Brock Lesnar, Brock Lesnar never beats Randy Couture for the championship. I am that convinced.
And probably goes to WWE earlier.
The only way that I could see that Brock Lesnar would have won that is because he was the fresh guy and Randy's the old guy, and it's time to kind of pass the torch, and the referees being on that BS, and they would figure a way to be on that BS. That's the only way he would have got the ultimate UFC screw job.
Yeah.
But it didn't have to happen. Why? Well, because Brock Lesnar with them big ass meat hooks popped one right in his head. Yeah. But he was out. Dude, he had Brock Lesnar worn out against that cage before he took that punch.
Yeah.
Worn out.
And Brock, let's remember, he was relying on pure instinct and strength during his fights, right? And to have that confidence boost gave him such a giant boost in his career, and to the point where, again, we haven't even put the whole thing to bed. I know there was speculation that he said he retired a couple years ago. That's not even set in stone. We don't even know if that's true quite yet. So we'll see, because first of all, the UFC loves money, and Brock would bring in money for them, so you never know what's going to happen.
Which is why the WWE keeps him as champ.
Yeah, and that's smart of the WWE, because keep all those eyes on the WWE instead of the UFC. Yeah. And before we get to 248, we got a couple events coming up. So we got the Motown Phenom versus the Cowboy Alex Oliveira. That's going to be a pretty good one in Brazil. Kevin Lee versus Alex Oliveira. And then we're also going to have Woodley versus Edwards. I believe that one's going to be in England. So those are two contenders right now that are trying to kind of, Woodley's on his way back
versus Yeez Edwards?
No, it's his name is Carl Edwards.
Carl.
Yeah, he's a British fighter. Edwards. He's been. Remember when Masvidal was in the back, and then he gave the 2-piece and a soda to the black dude who came up to him. That was him. That was that Edwards guy.
Okay.
And again, he's apparently trying to get a fight with. He doesn't even want the championship belt. He wants to beat Woodley and then try and fight Masvidal because of the whole storyline of the 2-piece and a soda, whatever thing. So yeah, those are the fights that are coming up. And again, a couple fights got added, so we'll talk about that. But right now, all eyes are on the two straps that are on the line tonight. I mean, first of all, I say we talk about Izzy and Yoel first because actually, you know what? Let's talk about Joanna first, because I don't know if we were doing the show at this time, but Joanna Jędrzejczyk was one of the most dominant champions of all time.
Yep.
Female or male. Went on a 3 or 4 year run in the UFC that was
at strawweight, right?
Strawweight, yeah. Yep. Unparalleled for even males. And what we saw essentially was this run of dominance that was just unparalleled. And then she goes and fights Rose Namajunas. And that first Rose fight, by the way, she fought Rose twice and lost twice to Rose.
Right.
And then she lost to Valentina when they fought. So
Right.
she was losing
I know
3 or
about that
4.
one.
Yeah, oh yeah. Now the big thing with Joanna was she had moved to Florida and her head kind of expanded a little bit. Her ego expanded. Everybody started to know Joanna. Oh my God, Joanna's she was so dominant that she was becoming, honestly, in the Ronda Rousey type thing where even people who didn't know about UFC were knowing about Ronda Rousey. And there was the same thing about Joanna. And she came in with this enormous amount of confidence into the first Rose fight. And she was almost taunting Rose at the face-off. Rose, I'm gonna break your face, all this crazy shit. And she had those gut-wrenching losses to Rose and then the loss to Valentina. And she went on to every single media outlet and was like, I'm done, Joanna champion, I'm going back to humble and this and that. And then we see the face-off with her and Wang Jie Li. And first of all, Weili Zhang. Weili Zhang is a relatively unknown. She came out and beat Andrade, and a lot of people weren't expecting that. And that was crazy because it was in China, and she was the first Chinese champion. She doesn't speak English. And Joanna is telling her, you messed up by disrespecting my fans. I would break you. I would do, and doing all the things she was doing in the Rose fight. And to me, that shows that she's scared of Weili because Weili has a right hand that, first of all, people are want to talk about the Andrade fight was, this and that. Andrade took a nasty couple of shots from Weili Zhang, and that's why they stopped that fight so early.
Were we doing the show when Weili Zhang?
I want to say it was a China card and it was on at night. Remember, and we were clowning how why would you have a championship fight when you can't even watch it? I think it would happen. Okay. We were doing the show, but it was going to be that night or something like that. So Weili Zhang, and by the way, she did it in convincing fashion. Weili did, and right now is on a 4-fight win streak. Joanna, there she is. There's Joanna. Which again, she's cute. But Joanna, I honestly, no, she's not, and no Antonina. I love, honestly, dude, I love Joanna. I think she's got all of the qualities in the ring, but all the stuff that she was talking. And by the way, she got a lot of flack online about it. The next day, she was super nice to Weili when they did the face off the next day. So clearly, Joanna's really. You're used to seeing like laser focus Joanna, and this is not laser focus. So that's why I chose Weili in this fight. I think Weili, what she needs to do is go out fast. She has to come out swinging. You can't let Joanna get in her groove. Joanna's too good fundamentally. She'll pick you apart. And by the way, in championship rounds, there's not a chance that Weili Zhang can do anything against Joanna. So I'm going to go ahead and say knockout in the first round, Weili Zhang.
Look at these training strikes,
Nasty elbows. And by the way, look at her. They're going to show her and Joanna next to each other. Her shoulders compared to Joanna are unbelievable. She's got power that nobody has ever really seen out of a girl that size, because Joanna never really knocked girls out because of her power. She knocked girls out because she would just wear them down. But this Weili Zhang, and look at these nasty elbows. I remember that one. That one was almost like, oh my God, she is a killer. Look at the girl's face. I mean, she bloodied up her face, and the next thing you know, she chokes her out. Like, this is how. And by the way, Weili Zhang, she's one of the first. She's one of the first fighters to come out of this Chinese camp, and apparently this Chinese camp does not fuck around. They bring in killers over there. There's another guy on this card who's fighting on it, and he's from that camp, and apparently they're saying this is just nasty. Yeah, and it's this guy actually. They both actually, yeah, that's him. Forgot what his name is. But they both fought on that China card, and this is what they're showing previews of right now. And Andrade, by the way, people were clowning Weili Zhang, like, who is this chick? Andrade's gonna kill her. Don't let Andrade get a hold of her, because Andrade, you'll see, dude. Andrade first of all, she looks like she's on test or something. Look at her shoulders, like, dude, she looks like a dude. I'm not gonna say she looks like a dude, but she looks like. Oh yeah, this is so. These are the knee, elbow. I mean, those are nasty knees to the body.
And then you go to Muay Thai like that?
Muay Thai, and then look at Andrade. I mean, Andrade's on Queer Street right there, and it took a while because this was a championship fight. They didn't want to stop it too early, and look at that. I mean, that was quick. That was within, a minute and a half of the fight starting. So this is what I'm talking about with Weili Zhang. She's got to come out swinging. She can't let Joanna get a groove, and it's got to happen quickly. And I hope it happens, too.
After I just saw that, yeah, I think I'm going to go with Weili Zhang, too.
Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly,
Holy
I'm
crap.
on the hype train. I'm gonna say this because they've been hyping her up like crazy. She's the first ever Chinese champ. We talked about this with the WWE. They tried it. Oh my God, let's get our first Indian champ. We want to get the Indian crowd. A lot of people are speculating that's what the UFC did with her, but she went out and fought Andrade and beat the crap out of her.
Right.
So you deserve it. At the end of the day, you deserve it. 20-fight win streak, 10 knockouts, 7 submissions. Finish Andrade in 42 seconds. I said a minute and a half. And her strike differential rate is one of the best of all time when it comes to per minute. So yeah, dude, this is a bad chick, and I think Joanna, judging by the face-offs, looked a little scared of her. All right, looks like we're both on the Weili Zhang train tonight.
Yes, the Zhang train.
We'll see how that goes.
And if you make money from that,
holla at us. I want to say she's an underdog. No, she can't be an underdog because she's a champion. But it's probably going to make you some money if you bet on her, because a lot of people are underestimating her. Because Joanna is Joanna. You have to give Joanna credit. But I'll be honest with you, if Joanna came out with the laser focus in the stare down and showed me that she wasn't thinking about anything else, I would be 100% on her side. But lately, I've had a hard time supporting Joanna because, again, first of all, those Rose fights, I mean, it's not like Rose didn't beat her twice. She beat her twice, handedly. And then, again, that fight against Valentina made her look like really bad. And that wasn't the first time Valentina beat her either. So there's clearly a way to beat Joanna. She's clearly had a little bit of a decline over the last couple of years, but still one of the more recognizable athletes on all of the roster. And yeah, Weili Zhang right now is the hype train, and they're hoping that she keeps that going, because let's be honest, that's a nice market to tap into, that Chinese market. They got something like a couple, I think, 1 billion or so people on that little strip of land there. And then we get to the main event, Nick. Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. I think every single time we talk about Yoel Romero on this show since we started, it's been about him losing, first of all.
Oh, yeah.
And it's also been about him always being the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? Yep. That he's always going to be one of the most feared guys in the in all the roster. Everybody's going to hate fighting him. They're not going to want to fight him, but he's never going to be champion. And what we saw was Israel won the middleweight title, and then what happened was it was supposed to be him and that other Brazilian beefcake that ended up beating Yoel. Costa is his name. He was supposed to fight Costa, and then Costa gets hurt. And there's really nobody left. Jared Cannonier was the closest guy, and nobody knows who Jared Cannonier is. So what essentially Israel said was, screw this, I'm a legacy fighter, which he is. Israel, if anybody does it for the glory, the fight game, it's Israel Adesanya. He's not doing this shit for money. He's been talking about his plan since he was doing kickboxing, that he wanted to do a couple years of boxing, then he wanted to do a couple years of kickboxing, then he wanted to do MMA, and then he wants to jump right into the UFC and be a UFC champion. He's doing that. He's already calling his shot for Las Vegas in 2021 with Jon Jones. He said by this time, he's saying in July of next year, he's already putting it in the paper, July of next year, him and Jon Jones will be fighting in Las Vegas in the new Raiders arena, in one of the biggest, most anticipated fights of all time, and we'll see what happens. What he decided was, I'm a legacy fighter. I'm going to choose the baddest motherfucker on the planet at middleweight, which a lot of people think is Yoel Romero, and I'm going to fight him when he didn't have to. He didn't have to do this. He could have just said, you know what, Dana, give me whoever. I'll maul through them. We'll wait till Costa's good, and then I'll fight Costa. Instead, he said, no, I don't want to have a little excuse for people to say, oh, you took an easy fight. He's taking Yoel Romero. Doesn't have to. Yoel Romero's lost 3 in a row. Yoel Romero is in a decline for all intents and purposes. The big problem with Yoel right now is that he's still an animal, a complete physical freak who, if he gets a clean shot on Izzy, it's going to be really tough for Izzy to be upright. Right. So the big thing for Izzy is obviously he's a technical fighter, as technical as there's ever been in the UFC at a guy in middleweight. And he's going to have to, Yoel's going to want to grapple with this guy. Let's be honest. If you're expecting a, fight in a phone booth type fight tonight, I don't think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see Izzy try and stay off of the ground, and I think you're going to see Yoel try and get this on the ground. Let's remember, first of all, Yoel Romero's 41 years old.
Right.
He said he's going to be fighting for another 10 years. Let's see about that, right?
Right.
But this guy was in the Olympics in the 90s. This guy was in the I want to say it was 2000, I'm sorry. He was in the Olympics in 2000 for Cuba. This guy is a serious wrestling monster. But Izzy is too smart. Izzy is not going to muddy the waters. He's not going to get into that territory. It's going to be a lot of movement from Izzy. And I think one thing that you can expect is Yoel's going to come out strong. He's going to want to come out in the first round, try and knock him out.
True.
I don't think Izzy's going to do that. I see this one that might go to the distance, honestly, Nick. I see this one as another one similar to the Costa fight when Costa and Romero fought.
Right.
They were trading blows. Remember, they were trading like knees and elbows, and Romero was sticking his tongue out at him like, blah, 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 you're not doing nothing. I mean, we're going to see a lot of that tonight. We're going to see a lot of taunting. Both guys are going to get bloodied up and start kissing each other or whatever they were doing at the weigh-ins. But I expect this one to be Izzy, and I think Izzy wins it by decision.
I'm going to go Izzy, but I'm going to go third round TKO.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go Izzy third round TKO.
How do you think he does it with with the legs, with the feet, just the onslaught? Because first of all, he's not exactly known to have a chin.
Right.
But he's also eaten a lot of shots and not gone down the last 3 fights, and all of the last 3 fights have gone to decision. So obviously, I don't know if you saw the highlights of him beating Weidman, but he almost murdered Weidman in that fight. Yoel did. So once Yoel,
I did see him
against the cage, and oh my God, that's nasty. So Yoel can do that, but the problem is, does Izzy put himself in a position like that?
I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see that either.
So it looks like we're both on the Izzy train. I quite frankly, because Izzy's saying he wants to defend it tonight. He wants to defend it another time, and then he maybe wants to think about another fight, possibly up to light heavyweight. But again, he's already called a shot with John Jones, so it's going to be an interesting fight tonight. There's another couple, pretty nice fights. If you're a big UFC guy or gal, there's a couple of other really nice fights on this card, including that one guy that we were talking about, the other guy in Weili Zhang's camp. Let me pull him up really quick. Yeah, Li Jingliang.
He's fighting tonight.
He's fighting Neil Magny tonight, and Neil Magny is a really decent fighter too. I see Magny in that fight, but again, Li Jingliang, apparently these dudes are killers. And then Drakkar Klose versus Beneil Dariush, Alex Cowboy Oliveira versus Max Griffin. That's going to be a decent ass fight too. And then we're watching right now Mark Madsen versus Austin Hubbard. The prelim, what would you call it? The prelim, I guess main prelim fight is Sean O'Malley versus Jose Quinones. And Sean O'Malley has been one of the most exciting prospects in the league. He's been out for 2 years because of steroids. They're saying it was a tainted supplement. He hasn't fought in 2 years, and this is a guy that people were comparing to Conor when he first came in. He's a big weed head, sort of he's like a mix between Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, this Sean O'Malley. So I think we might be able to catch a little bit of that if this fight goes quickly, but probably not, so we'll probably have to watch that one on the road. But yeah, keep an eye on that if you guys are listening. Sean O'Malley versus Jose Quinones.
Yes, sir. I'm going to give you 1 second to knock this out. Oh, I know there was something I do want to talk about real quick.
Yeah, please.
Let me knock this out real quick. So, I actually wanted to talk about this a couple of weeks ago, and I did not because it totally slipped my mind, but I actually was thinking about it today. Do you know what I find amazingly attractive is women that know sports?
Oh, I'm the exact opposite.
Are you really?
Ahead. I really am. I can't stand it when girls that I'm into are like, "Yeah, did you see the Bulls game?" It's like, "Oh God, I don't want to do this with you right now. Let's just keep the lines crossed."
Let me tell you a small story,
Okay.
And I'm gonna put her name out there,
Okay.
And I promise you, I'm gonna clip this.
Okay, please.
And I'm gonna tag her in this clip.
Let me fix my hat so I can make sure I look good on the clip.
Because here's what happened. A couple Thursdays ago, I went to Chama Gauchua, the Brazilian steakhouse in good old Downers Grove.
Yep.
And then, was it on the way? I think it was after we had come home from. I almost want to say it was us coming home. No, I almost want to say it was on the way to Chama Gauchua when I went and picked her up.
Okay.
Went and picked her up. Her name is Ashley Murillo.
Okay.
Very good friend of mine, right?
Shout out to Ashley. Okay.
Shout out to Ashley. We were talking Blackhawks hockey.
Okay.
Because she's a diehard Blackhawks fan.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay, I'll kick this off, but I don't think this conversation is going to last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Because, there's girls that love the Blackhawks but can't tell me anyone outside of
Exactly. That's my problem.
Maybe Crawford.
That's my problem. Right. Yeah.
Bro, we had a full 20-minute full conversation.
Nice.
And then when I knew that she knew more than I thought she did about the Blackhawks, was when she knew exactly why Hossa retired.
Oh,
why he had to retire.
Infection, yeah.
And because I'm already on record of saying that the Blackhawks dynasty was in trouble when he retired from the whole allergic to the jersey situation.
Yeah.
And before I can even finish the sentence, she was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." When he had that jersey situation, I looked, I was like, "Damn, okay, so you really know your stuff, huh?"
Yeah.
So she started talking to me why she thought that Bowman should have gotten fired before Q, and then she was talking about how she thinks that maybe Crawford's on his last leg.
Oh man!
And then I was like, "Well, what do you think about rebuilding and maybe trading Caves and Tane, or God bless Taves and Kane?" And she was like, "Well, I'm not sure. I don't know if we're gonna get the right pack." Like, start really breaking down this stuff, and I was like,
"She's on top of it."
I'm like, okay, so you really know your stuff. That's attractive. What I can't stand, and this happens a lot in Yankee land. Oh my God, I love the Yankees. I'm such a Jeter fan.
He's so hot.
He's so hot. Okay, let's see if I can figure this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's say like he was playing next to Robinson Cano, so I'd be like, yeah, and Cano will go 0 for 4.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, yeah, Cano had a really good game. I was like, chess game. Let's say, oh yeah. I'm like, well, Cano went 3 for 4 last night. No, he went 0 for 4. He went 3 for 4 last night. Man, it looked really good. Oh, I know, but Derek Jeter in a conversation because he didn't go.
We can stop. Yeah.
Do not call yourself a Yankees fan and do shit like that. I will absolutely lose the everlasting back of my mind. I cannot stand that. It is very unattractive. I will put you in the friend zone, and I may or may not text you from here on out.
Because you know how it is when we're with other fans, like even dudes, right?
Yeah.
And they say something cringy like, "Oh, Derek Jeter, he didn't deserve to be first ballot Hall of Fame," and like you give,
he's so overrated.
And you like give this dude a look like, do I even know you? Like I can't even. and when a girl says something like that, I have a very hard time because I have to keep it inside me. I can't be like, you sound like an idiot right now. So like, girls who are like, oh my God, Kobe Bryant, I love him so much. Like, rest in peace to Kobe, but like these girls who are out of the woodworks now, Kobe fans, and and then all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm a Lakers fan now. I love, LeBron when he went to me, I've always gotten along better with girls who had no clue with sports, even what sports was, than girls who were sports fans, because chances are they didn't know what the fuck they were talking about, and I just couldn't get through a conversation. Like I remember I used to work with this girl who was a diehard Cubs fan, and she knew her stuff, but the problem was like, do you really know what you're talking? Like you don't know enough for me and you to have a conversation right now, other than like, oh my God, that double was so like
Oh my God, Javi Baez is so hot.
Yeah, that's.
Oh my God, I would marry.
That might have been the most.
Rizzo.
That might have been the most. I'm a White Sox fan who hates the Cubs, and that might have been more annoying than them winning the World Series. Was that 2-year stretch where every girl on earth who was aware of Javier Baez was like, he's so hot, oh my God. And then just like I posted on Facebook once, like girls should say they love Javier Baez more, like as if like we didn't have every other status, like Javier Baez looks like he looks like he's an Aventura.
Or oh yeah, there's that one. Or they would be like, oh, he's Javier Baez.
Oh no.
Really?
So cringy.
Really?
So cringy.
That's where we're gonna go with this? Javier Baez. So he's Bay all of a sudden. Oh, give me a flipping
anytime you're
break.
Anytime you're gonna bring up the attractive, just imagine what you and I, the shit we would get into if we were like, Yeah, I pay attention to WNBA. You know what? I only pay attention to the I don't even know what team she's on. The Connecticut Sun, because Skylar Diggins on there. And girl, she's so hot and this and that. And they'd be like, oh my God, it's misogynistic. Like, you should watch it for the game and not for the attractiveness of the girls. But you can't say the same thing to girls who are like, yeah, I watch the Cubs because I love Rizzo. He's so hot. And Bryant, oh my God, he's so hot too. And it's like, oh yeah, you can't say shit about that. Okay, yeah, do your thing, girl. Just don't. If you're a girl who's interested in me, and there's probably not a ton of you guys out there, but those of you that are interested in me, if you like sports, just pretend you don't like sports so that we can get our connection. And then once we get deep into the game, you can like sports. That's fine.
So you're telling me if a girl comes up to you and really drops you White Sox nugget tidbits, it wouldn't turn you on the slightest?
If anything, it makes me think like you're my buddy now. Like, we're buddies now. Like, you're no longer my girl. I'm sorry. I that's just me. Honestly, it's not even a thing. It sounds misogynistic, but it's not. It's really that what I've honestly, dude, girls for me have always been an escape from sports, where it's like sports is just so much of my life that like when I want a quality time with a girl, the last thing I want to do is have her mention that the White Sox lost today so I can go off on her and be like, yeah, I know Giolito. I know. I get it. We gave up too many runs. Like, to me, you're an escape from sports. You're my haven from sports. Do not mention it. And especially if you're a Cubs fan, don't come up to me and be like, I'm a huge Cubs fan, because that's it. We're going to be friends, and that's it. We're going to be friends forever.
Oh, that's great. You're right. We're a complete opposite, because if some girl come at me with tidbits and they actually hold water.
Yeah. I respect them for sure.
It's definitely at least girlfriend material.
Okay.
It is legit solid girlfriend material.
So you're saying your girl, she passed the test, Ashley.
She's a great friend.
Okay.
She's a great friend.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean like your girl. I just meant
no. Here's what I will say. Okay, this is what I will say.
Yeah.
What I will say is, she's like my okay. If I right now was like, as a matter of fact, this is why I give her credit.
Okay.
We were gonna go to when the Rangers beat the Blackhawks, but she had to work.
Okay.
If she would have won, it would have been a wrap. I'd have been like, oh snap, Ashley then came out to this Blackhawks game and watched the Rangers lose.
Make it official.
Now, if you wear this hat, this Rangers hat I got,
then you can make it happen.
There could be great friend benefits that come with this that could escalate. It's like collecting Kool-Aid points.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Just get as much as you can.
You get as much points as you can when you're ready to cash them in.
I see you. Okay.
Shit. Go ahead and mail them in. Let's see if we get this T-shirt.
But Ashley sounds like she knows what she's talking about.
Oh, most def,
which
dude.
Is like, that's number one. You got to know what you're talking about.
You got to know what you're talking about. Like, you can't just drop at me you're a fan of somebody.
All right, shout out to Ashley.
And not know Jack, because that'll piss me off.
If Ashley has a sister who doesn't know anything about sports, hit me up. Holla at me.
I don't know if she does or not.
But also that Chamagaucha, I'll go to Chamagaucha with anyone, somebody I hate.
Chamagaucha is why I am in the espresso game as I am right now.
That's right. Yeah.
And I love it too, because one of the girls I work with was like, oh my God, you would never go to Starbucks all of a sudden. Because I don't have time sometimes to actually sit down and have a nice espresso with my finger out.
Yeah. And Dunkin' Donuts, their espresso is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care that I pay $4 for the espresso at Starbucks. The quality is amazing. It tastes great. Has your tolerance gone down yet? Because usually after a week or two of the espresso game, your tolerance starts to go down. It starts to have less of a caffeinated effect. Do you feel the caffeine still, or is it kind of wearing down?
Ask me this question again next week because I could say yes, because it did not kick in last Saturday.
Okay, yeah, because sometimes I could see at the end of the show you were definitely.
Bro, I cannot express to you how exhausted I was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, nah, we got 30 minutes. I can make it through. Bro, I'm telling you, I went straight to the crib when the show was over with.
Yeah.
And that's not like me. Usually I DoorDash, Because right now, as soon as we're done here, I'm finna go do that because I know all the drunken weed heads are out and they're gonna want to eat on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
And it's like the easiest $50 to $70 one man could make.
Yeah.
So I know they're out there. But last Saturday was not happening.
Nah, go on.
Dude, you could have paid me $1 million to stay out for an hour longer, and I would have not have made it. I would have been.
It was
passed
one of those
out.
nights for sure.
Oh my God, dude, it sucks so bad, and I feel so bad because, dude, work was busy as balls on the first weekend of Lent.
Oh, okay.
God bless,
Everybody's
dude.
giving up something or other.
First off, because usually I give up red meat, but I can't do it because I'm on a keto diet. It would diffuse the whole purpose of me being on the diet.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which,
yeah,
I will never cook a steak any way other than in a cast iron skillet with butter and herbs. I will not grill a steak from here on out if I have the chance to do it. I will not open up the grill. I have a cast iron skillet at the house.
Beat the cast iron.
You cannot, dude. I'm talking about a solid 4 minutes aside, butter. You get a little oil to put in the skillet, get it nice and hot. When that bad boy is seasoned, you just. And here's another thing, too. All these steak seasonings are out there. How about just salt and pepper? That's all you really need.
Salt, pepper, butter, and a little bit of maybe herbs.
A little thyme, a little and then take some real garlic. Not the stuff that's already chopped up in the can.
Crush it up.
Get you a bulb of garlic. You press it with the knife so you can expose the garlic in that flavor. Once it melts in with the butter, you baste the steak for it is absolutely amazing.
Especially in the cast iron, that layer that you get when you get the cast iron really, really hot, because you can't get regular pans that hot. Like these nonstick pans can't get that hot, but you can get these cast irons just super hot, and you can almost hear it once you lay down that first side, and that layer of the caramelization of the layer that you get from the cast iron. And the best thing for me is you get the caramelization. If you get a thick steak like I do from Aldi, I just throw it in the oven, finish it off in the oven, and boom, the cast iron is all good. You get to keep the butter in there.
If you feel like you're gonna burn it and you like yours more well done, then finish in the oven.
Yeah.
I actually got my mom's to well done without burning it.
Yeah.
So we were cool there.
Especially in a cast iron, that's hard to do. You have to stay on top of it.
Yes.
You have to really, you get the first two flips in, but after that, you have to be really consistent. Honestly, dude, Alton Brown, first of all, I have a weird relationship with the Food Network. I've been watching the Food Network since I was like a kid.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, for some reason, there's something therapeutic to me about Food Network.
Yes.
And just food shows in general. Like, I used to fast, and Ramadan's coming up, and I'm going to be fasting again. And this is one of the weirdest things I do when I'm fasting. I watch the Food Network all day on the weekends.
Right.
It's almost like you're eating without eating. And people are like, doesn't that make you hungry? No, it has the opposite of effect for some reason.
Right.
Like, I'm super hungry. I haven't eaten or drinking anything all day. And I'm watching Alton Brown cook up a steak that looks amazing. And Alton Brown, Good Eats, one of my favorite shows of all time. He does an amazing job when it comes to like steaks, and he breaks it down. And funny enough, I was watching some earlier this morning. They were fixing my windshield. So I was like, you know what? Throw on some Good Eats while I'm, eating something. So yeah, dude, there's nothing like a really good, nice steak cooked in a cast iron skillet. And a well-seasoned one, too. The good thing about the cast iron skillet is it needs to have age on it. Like, your cast iron isn't good unless you've been using it for 2 years. For 2 years, that's when the flavor really comes.
And don't be scared if your cast iron skillet, if the outside looks like it's got baked on grease, that's want okay. That. It's okay.
That's flavor, baby.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect the inside of the skillet, though.
No.
That's the thing, though.
And it's just building, it's just almost building, like, character to the actual.
Oh, easily. like I'll give you right now, frying chicken that bad boy is money in the bank.
Yeah.
It is money in the bank. Because usually the consensus is to deep fry your fried chicken.
Right.
Nah, man, you get you some solid lard, shortening, oil, whatever you want to use, and you put it at least 3/4 of the way. And that's because you got to turn your chicken, make sure your fire's not too high.
The best way to cook it even, too. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Dude, whoever invented the cast iron skillet, I'm pretty sure you are dead by now.
Yeah.
But I would love to sing your praise, and I wish I could shake your hand because every household has to have at least one cast iron skillet. If you're living by yourself, get you one for yourself. If you're living with a family, they're all in various sizes. If you can't find them, you just go to one of these, what's some things called? The flea markets. Mm-hmm. somebody's selling one of them here in these flea markets.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. You will not have lived life if you do not have a cast iron skillet.
And if you don't have one, go get one. Seriously. Like, if you don't have one, and you have to, by the way, you can't just start cooking with it. You have to, like, oil it up and put it in the oven, let it basically absorb all the oil so that, because, again, you're going to oil it once, and you're never going to oil it again.
Nope.
I see people using oil as a base so that it doesn't stick. You don't have to do it with the cast iron skillet. That's the whole thing about the cast iron skillet.
If you're putting oil in your cast iron skillet, it's because of flavor purposes only.
Exactly.
It's not to non-stick.
Non-stick it, right? Yeah. Exactly. And I used coconut oil on my my one, and because it just has a high flash point. Yeah. And it gives it a little bit of a more smokier taste too. Now that I've cooked in it like too many times, but yeah, that's basically my go-to. The only thing I won't cook in there is eggs. Basically everything else I'm cooking in there. Eggs, you got to have the non-stick, but other than that, every like meat especially. And even the vegetables, dude. Like, if I'm putting together, like, especially like frozen vegetables, where it's just kind of like, okay, let me throw together a nice little, plate with rice. I'm putting in the cast iron because it's going to give it that flavor, salt and pepper, and then the cast iron flavor, and that's all you need. And by the way, as we were talking, Khabib's rep, Ali Abdulaziz, came out and said that Khabib won't think about a fight with Conor unless he fights Gaethje first, Justin Gaethje, which is apparently the next fight for Conor. So they said they want to make a decision quickly, so we'll see what happens. We might even have a decision.
I'm so sick of hearing about Khabib versus Conor, dude.
I know. Let's see Khabib versus Tony first, because Conor doesn't deserve a rematch at this point. Like, even if he gets Justin Gaethje and wins against Gaethje, like, what? I'm going to give you credit for beating a Donald Cerrone who's on the way out, and Justin Gaethje, who basically all he does is just throw punches. He doesn't even defend. He's going to leave himself open. It's going to be a fun fight, I would imagine. But we thought the same thing about the Cerrone fight, and all that did was last freaking 20 seconds. So,
yeah, if that.
So yeah, we'll see about that. But let's have Tony and Khabib happen first before we start talking Conor Khabib.
Well, that's about all we need to hit. We've hit pretty much everything. Next week when we come back, we'll talk more baseball. We'll probably break down the American League as best as humanly possible before first pitch opening day happens.
I can't wait.
Then we'll get into some NFL because we got some draft talk we need to do.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, am I tweaking? What is this, the 7th?
Yeah, it's the 7th today.
Oh, so I think free agency doesn't start to the 18th. Is either the 14th or the 18th?
Yeah, so there's been a couple of deals that have happened, like the Bears signed Demetrius Harris, but those won't go official for another like 2.5 weeks, I think. So
and then the Jaguars traded their defensive back to Denver.
That's right, AJ Boye.
Which led Leonard Fournette to delete every picture on his Instagram except for the one with Boye. So could what's his name want out? Tampa Bay, see them, bruh. See them.
Why not? And Jalen Ramsey, by the way, he came out and said, free all my guys. So clearly he knows that people are out of Jacksonville. The Jacksonville, it's a dumpster fire right now. Nobody wants to play there. It's in the same sort of, talk about Cincinnati and some of these other teams. Like, even Miami's in a greater position right now than both those teams.
Ain't that a bitch? And then on top of that, what's all this nonsense? I heard that Eli Manning was having dinner with one of the Bears executives
Apparently they were thinking it was going to be a front office gig, which, first of all, if Eli were to be a front office guy, why wouldn't it be with the Giants? Like, the Giants, they have regime changes now. He's a Giants legend. Like, that didn't make a lot of sense to me. Apparently, the source who came out and said that was a meeting about a comeback ended up retracting that and said that it was just basically a meeting about a possible gig in the front office. I don't understand. I don't know what they could possibly be talking about because the Bears don't need a GM. They don't, what ties does Eli Manning have to the Bears that he would be an ambassador even? Like, I don't get it. So, no, and again, if people who are like, yeah, dude, like, why not Eli Manning be the quarterback? Shut up. Let's there's a lot of talk about Andy Dalton right now, a lot of talk about all these other guys. We'll see how the cards fall. The Bears don't have money right now.
How about you try to get yourself a goddamn wide receiver for this man to throw to, not named Allen Robinson? How about that?
And everybody's like, well, we got
God
other
bless,
guys.
Dude. Even the great Deshaun Watson needs two. Think about it like this. What's Big Head's name? DeAndre Hopkins ain't squat unless Will Fuller's over there. Yeah. Come on, man, dude.
And we see how good they are with Fuller, and then without Fuller, they're kind of like an average team. Yeah. Yeah, the Bears need, and especially now,
I
no Gabriel.
I don't understand, dude. 2 years of Mitch, and all of a sudden, he may not be the answer. Dude, you don't have I swear to God, Bulls, Knicks fans should be the same. Bears, Buccaneers fans should be the same. Dude, we have the same issues on the offensive side of the ball, but everyone's all of a sudden this quarterback guru, and everyone thinks they know the answer. How about both teams get a running back? How about one team get an offensive line? And how about the other team gets wide receivers?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You just don't give up on 23 to 25-year-old quarterbacks. Chicago, Tampa.
Yeah.
Take notes.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Can we stop trying to compare our situations to Kansas City's got all the speed in the world and Deshaun Watson, who, no offense, hasn't sniffed the Super Bowl, but he's all of a sudden this amazing player with this great playoff resume. He won his first playoff game and his third chance in the playoffs. Dude, piss off.
Yeah, and
guys are idiots.
Even that, it was like, okay, yeah, and even with the Bears, I mean, like, there's a lot of talk about Ryan Tannehill that apparently the Tennessee has soured on him, and they would rather spend the extra money on Tom Brady. Brady hasn't even sniffed talking about them. Apparently, right now it's like a 3-team race with Brady. It's going to be Indianapolis, San Diego, and what was the Vegas? They were talking, and then I saw the Buccaneers were in there. I saw Tennessee jumped in there, so clearly there's interest there. But now people are saying, "Oh, Ryan Tannehill might not get paid, and if he is going to get paid, it's not going to be with Tennessee." And now Bears fans are like, "Well, let's pay him." Well, we don't have the money to pay him, and that's the whole reason why the Andy Dalton thing hasn't happened yet, because we would need Andy Dalton to get cut in order to bring him in. All these people who said, "Let's trade Leonard Floyd for Andy Dalton," why? Give up a really good young player for Andy Dalton, we don't even know if he's going to start. This is crazy, man. Like I can't wait till free agency is done and we could get to or the first couple weeks at least, and we can get to the draft and start to see what the team looks like, because I'm so sick of all this speculation from Bears fans, and none of them know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to Mitch. Like, does anybody love Mitch? No, but to think that, like, yeah, let's get rid of Mitch first and find out, like, there's a bunch of people like, we're going to cut Mitch, right? Like, we need to cut Mitch. Like, dude, you don't even watch football. Get out of here, man.
Apparently the Vegas odds is in the favor of him going back to New England.
But then, oh, by the way, Vegas, Gruden said that he's going to commit to Carr long term, which that was another name that was brought up. So this is confusing. I don't know who. I think Vegas is on point with this. I think this is all a show. I think for the Patriots to basically,
And let me say this. I will say this: if Tom Brady does go back to New England, he doesn't sign with Tampa, Jameis is back in Tampa Bay. Because if you're looking at all the list of the quarterbacks that's on that might be a free agent, there's no one better.
Bridgewater,
I do not want Tampa Bay to sign Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
I cannot stress enough how pissed off I would be if the Buccaneers brought in Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is fool's gold. Yeah. And I'm so sick of hearing his dumbass name keep popping up.
He's like the poor man's Jameis anyway.
At the end of the day, dude, and everyone's like, whoa, well, we've been with Jameis Winston for 5 years and he hasn't improved. And blah. But here, this is why, and I keep getting to this argument, and I don't know why, and I'm with you. I'm just waiting for this just to be over with because some side of this fan base is not going to be happy. The only year that the Buccaneers went over 500 under Jameis Winston was the year that Doug Martin finished second in the NFL in rushing yards. Mm-hmm. What is the number one thing that everyone keeps trying to tell these dumbass Bucs fans that cannot wait to get rid of Jameis for? Why don't you get him a run game?
Yeah.
Why don't you get him offensive line?
For sure.
Not have the man throw the ball 50 times a game.
Yeah.
But Nick, he's going to throw 50 interceptions. Why don't you get him a run game? Because Ronald Jones still has fumbleitis and can't pick up blitz packages. Yeah. He still needs more time.
Offensive line is still
very bad right now. We still got some holes, especially on the outside. Why don't we fix the offensive line? Why don't we get a running back? You take the pressure off of Jameis so that he doesn't have to throw the ball 50 times.
Yeah.
The man's going to come into the year with new eyes, a new hand, and new knees.
Yeah.
You think I want to give up on a 25-year-old quarterback that's about to be able to see, that's about to be able to walk?
The eyes part is a big part.
It's a big part. That's going to be able to walk, that's going to be able to see, and can grit the ball without having
and
a brace on his hand.
And hopefully won't be seeing ghosts this year if he has an offensive line. I mean,
God, flipping bless. Like Bucs fans piss me me off because I know they're smarter, but here's what I don't want to do. Well, I just want to make the playoffs. Well, if we get Tom Brady, that's all we're going to be is a playoff team.
Ask how Bears fans loved the playoffs last year, and how they're doing right now. Playoffs doesn't do much for you, man.
It doesn't do much. No. All you're going to cry is, we haven't been in the playoffs 12 years, and then I get hit with this one. Well, Nick, it sounds like you like mediocrity. I never said I don't want to make the playoffs. What I have said is, though, I want it to be like between the years of 96 and when we won the Super Bowl in 2002, because every time we made the playoffs, I swore up and down we were going to the Super Bowl. We got screwed one time because that should have been us beating Tennessee, not the St. Louis Rams, and then we ended up doing it. Every single year we win the playoffs during that time, I swore up and down. Now, all of a sudden, it's just, well, let's just make the playoffs. Let's just make the playoffs. No, I want us to build so when we make the playoffs, I know we can make it there again next year. Yeah. I just don't want to make it there with a 42-year-old quarterback just so we could put a Band-Aid on the problem for us to suck again for another 10 years.
I mean, Kansas City.
Come on, dude.
Kansas City with Alex Smith was making the playoffs like pretty much every single year. Why'd they end up saying, you know what, screw this, dude, we can't handle this type, because at the end of the day, if you want to talk about mediocrity is making the playoffs but never having a chance at being a Super Bowl contender.
Houston Texans.
Yeah, Houston Texans. I mean, even
so while Bears fans keep crying about Deshaun Watson, how's that working out for them? When have they sniffed the Super Bowl? Idiots. I swear to God, dude, idiots. It's straight like I'm not trying to make myself seem like some sports genius, but I can't stand stupid comments. Yeah. And I can't stand, I guess, dude, I can't stand stupid opinions. Let me put it like that, too. Yeah. I'm just going to throw it out there. I can't stand them, dude. I can't stand when I know that people are smart and they say something so dumb.
Just because of emotions that they're like, oh, man, my team disappointed me this year, and oh, no.
It is the worst, dude. The facts are right in your face. I don't like the fact that Jameis threw 30 interceptions, but I also don't like the fact that we didn't have a rusher that rushed for damn near over 600 yards in the season. Yeah. How's that going to work out for us?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, by the way, how did the San Francisco 49ers make it into the Super Bowl? Because it wasn't because Jimmy Garoppolo was going up there just yamming 300-yard games all over the place. Yeah. No offense to anybody, but when Patrick Mahomes got hurt that little time, how'd you think they was winning games? It wasn't because Matt Moore was out there throwing 500-yard games. They had 100-yard rushers. They have 1,000-yard rushers for the season. Same thing with San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Same thing with, Minnesota.
Offensive line is consistently good for Kansas City, too.
It is not rocket science. Yeah. So thinking that Jameis is the problem, no, he might be the one of the many issues that we have. He's not the issue. Mm-hmm. If we go out there and fix the O-line, get him a running back that can see holes and run right through them so Jameis doesn't have to throw the ball 400 times, we'll be fine. But you can't say that to Bucs fans because all they see is, 30 interceptions, 30 interceptions, 30 interceptions. It's like arguing with a girl that knows she's wrong and she's going to bring up the same point. At this point, you're just like, you know what, I'm done.
Yeah, but remember when you left the mayonnaise out all night? And it's like, well, we're talking about something else right now.
Right.
Like, let's stay on subject here.
Can we stay right here? Here are the facts.
Yeah.
I got facts right here.
You cheated on me. Yeah, but what about the mayonnaise? That one time. It's like, no, we're talking about something different right now.
Right. Here's the facts. Read them.
All right. Let's
all right, guys. Well, it's time to hit the old dusty trail, but we'll be back next Saturday at the same bad time, same bad channel. Thanks, Steve, over there on the other side of the glass back out there. Everyone that's watching, we appreciate you guys as always. I will clip parts of the show so you guys can watch it. Always make sure that you like the Mac and Black Facebook page. We're always interacting in there, putting up articles and clowning somebody. And I have got to figure out how I can post this myself and not as the Mac and Black show so that people know that it's me talking and not the show.
We're gonna make it happen.
We gotta make that. I'm about to lose my mind.
Yeah, me too. That bothers me. All right.
So for Mac, I'm Black. See you guys later. Peace.